Alright, hello everyone, and welcome. The stream should be live now. It's been a month since we last played, so it's understandable if you don't remember quite what happened. We're going to go over that today. Just a few quick notes. Cole, who plays the cool and collected Dr. Charlotte Jones, will not be with us tonight. So we will pick up with what's happening with Charlotte. Hopefully next chapter. There may be some allusions to it during this chapter here tonight. And also James, who plays the perhaps misleadingly so himbo Mike, will be joining us at a dramatically appropriate time. But just don't get concerned if you don't hear his voice during the preambles or opening scenes. He'll be with us. But since it's been a while, I should remind you basically how this works. And how this works is we start with a bit of exposition. Then we watch our intro video. And then we dive into our chapter proper. So, let us begin with the exposition. A promiscuous and suggestive application of Camarilla law has transpired at the Prince's Court in Chicago's Civic Opera Theater. Traditions clearly outline that any illegitimately sired childer be slain. No exceptions. And yet, the vagabond kindred of unknown provenance, Garrett, was not only presented to the prince as such, but was also granted admission into Critias's Eternal Academy, an experimental education and reformation school for fledglings and kindred hoping to transfer into Chicago from other domains. Such admission heavily implies that this new, unproven kindred, Garret, will not only be permitted to exist, but will also be expected to learn and practice the ways of the Camarilla. Of course, the important kindred, those comprising the court and the prince's advisors, have not breathed a word of this decision in any context. They know better than to publicly criticize the prince's decisions. As such, they are adhering to and respecting the prince's subversion of tradition. At least on paper. What they may be saying or talking or thinking in private, on the other hand, is a different story. The lesser kindred, however, the other fledglings and neonates, those who either have no serious political aspirations or at least no clear path to ascension into the cutthroat arena that is kindred politics, have no qualms vomiting forth a litany of conspiracy theories, none of which are whispered in hushed tones in Elysium, of course, for that would be far too dangerous. Their theories usually hinge on alleged smoking bullet questions, such as, who bought off the prince? To whom does the prince owe such a significant boon that he would violate traditions for the sake of discharging said debt? What sort of hideous sins stain the prince's past so deeply that he would go to such lengths to conceal them? Did another kindred violate tradition by forcing the prince to spare this new kindred? And if so, who could it have been? Finally, the last theory, and perhaps the most seditious one these kindred have conjured, centers on the following reasoning. Surely the vizier must be on this plot too, for if he wasn't, why would he have not told the court the lineage and nature of this new kindred? Whether he or his elusive sire intended to or not, Garrett's emergence onto the stage at this juncture has attracted the attention of nearly every kindred in Chicago, and with the one-way mirror that is the Masquerade slowly splintering before its mortal audience, any mistake he might make in his ignorance of Camarilla customs could cost him, and his fellow kindred, everything. Does Garret have the fortitude and resolve to withstand such intense light constantly shining upon his ventures into the dark? Let us find out in tonight's continuation of our vampire story, Chapter 3, Fearful Symmetry. It's been such a long time, I forgot how sweet that intro vid was. But if you're looking now, you see that we have a dope and thematically appropriate new overlay.
Ooh, I like it.
Thanks. And now that we're starting, as we peer in, we just do this, turn off the blood pool, and now we get a look at what's happening in our Chicago Kindred's lives. So, that was our intro video, that was our exposition. Let's dive in to Chapter 3, Fearful Symmetry. Without another word following your proclamation, Garrett. Critias huffs, motioning for you to follow him, even though you are inclined to follow him, as per the prince's instructions. You can't shake the feeling that your feet would have walked behind him, whether you had made the conscious choice to do so or not. And so, following in Critias's wake, you leave the safety of Elysium. You leave the rest of the group, the only group of kindred you know, behind. You follow him, wordlessly. It is the longest, most painful walk of your nascent existence as an undead. Not because of anything particularly nefarious or deleterious that you experienced during the journey, but because an alien presence within you trembles with every step you take. It is during this long, quiet, contemplative walk, in fact, that you become perturbingly familiar with the fact that some other consciousness or force now also inhabits your body, mind, and soul, if you have one, that is. You lose yourself in this harrowing discovery while you mindlessly follow behind Critias for what feels like over 2 hours. And then, as abruptly as your journey began, it stops. You turn your attention outward once more. You now stand amongst the benches of an outdoor amphitheater somewhere on the campus of the University of Chicago. The full moon above hides its face from the unholy convocation below, cloaking itself in trembling clouds as black as iniquity. The air around you is sticky with the dew of dread, and stagnant with the choking heat of damnation. Even the shadows from the nearby trees along the periphery of the amphitheater dance mischievously around you. And Critias, that ancient monster, stands on the stage, his back towards you.
I just continued to stay silent and just wait.
Okay. You wait for about 5 minutes. Nothing seems to happen. And then Critias, that short yet horrifying kindred, turns to you. For the first time, you behold his face. Wrinkles carve deep valleys across his wizened, plump physiognomy, transforming his eyes into 2 yellow moons that haunt the night sky. He says, "Are you ready to learn how to survive in this wretched existence you've been given?"
Yes, sir.
Good. Allow me to make one detail abundantly clear. If you do not heed my teachings and abide by the laws I intend to inculcate into your mind, then you will surely perish.
I understand.
Mark my words, young kindred. Some maleficent stroke of fate may have spared you the prince's wrath, but it will not spare you mine.
I understand.
Good. Before we begin, as Athena has not seen it fit to bless me with uncanny insight into your frustratingly mysterious provenance, are you familiar with your blood's dominion in any way?
No. I don't know what that means.
Critias sighs. He rubs the bridge of his nose. What supernatural gifts have you manifested, child?
I just started to think on it. I
If
do
you're
shat-
uncertain, then why don't you manifest a gift right now that has some sort of physical or visual effects? Perhaps I could determine your lineage from that.
I try to focus onto my sight and close my eyes. And upon opening them, the iris are now black.
That's what you try to do anyway.
Yeah, at least try to attempt to do that.
You focus, remembering that you have some sort of connection with shadows according to what that group of kindred you left behind said. You wonder if you can pull them over your eyes. But nothing happens. Seeing you just kind of squinting and staring at yourself for a bit, Critias says, "Use your gift!"
I start getting angry, and I begin trying to do it again.
And it's as Critias's demand reaches your ears that you find yourself nodding and muttering, "Yes, I'll use my gifts." The force of his command stomps down what meager resistance you could have mustered, and crushes it deep into the cracking foundation of your very being, your essence. With your will in shambles before him, your body moves as he bids. You subconsciously call one of the dancing shadows forth and cast it down the row of benches. And then you come to your attention, not even realizing what you've just done.
Just begin, looking around.
Critias says, "Well now, Hades Fork must have an especial fondness for me these nights."
I'm sorry.
You... What's your name again?
Garrett.
You, young Garret, are a problem for Chicago.
How so?
The Clan of Shadows, La Sombra, as they are more commonly known. That is what you are.
And what does that mean entirely?
It's quite simple, really. The La Sombra are ancient enemies of the Camarilla, and frankly, any kindred seeking to exist in a macabre imitation of civility.
Oh. Okay. And that affects me how? Is that just...
He chuckles as you say that, almost in disbelief. He clenches his fist. You can feel that other presence within you attempting to slink away from him. It howls in desperation, clawing at your mind, attempting to drag you away. The crater left in your being by Critias' usurpation of your will still throbs, with psychological and existential pain. Critias forces a dead breath through his nostrils, releasing tension in his body. He mutters, "For some reason, Prince Jackson saw fit to spare you. So, as is my duty as the Bruja Primogen, I shall at least afford you the opportunity to learn the Camarilla's customs. If you find yourself in Thanatos' sights afterwards, then it's of no consequence to me."
Okay. Thanatos? Who's that?
Yes, well, you see, this is a lesson for another day, but I am quite old. Back in my day, people thought of Thanatos as the god, not whatever's happening in America nowadays. As one of the gods, I should say. Many gods.
Oh. Okay, you've just been around long. You've seen... And Garrett is confused at hearing that.
Yeah, pretty much since the beginning of time. Yeah. And yet here we have one of our oldest enemies dropped in our lap. You asked how that affects you? Well, it means that there are more of your kind in this city, and that's a problem. Perhaps your kind are trying to breed here, cause some sort of problem.
So the prince possibly spared me to use me as a weapon against them.
He tucks his hands into his toga and seems to ignore your statement. He says, "If you wish to continue existing, then you must master the 6 traditions. Tonight,
6 traditions.
yes, tonight, we will begin with the first and perhaps paramount tradition, the Masquerade. As the title of the tradition implies, it is an elaborate charade that we Kindred play with the mewling mortals who populate the day. The crux of the Masquerade is that we never, under any circumstances, reveal who or what we are to Kine.
And if it does happen, we have to quickly eradicate them. Or find a way to restore the Masquerade.
Exactly. What it means is that you must master your supernatural gifts and ensure that none who walk during the day ever grasp the reality of said gifts. In order to do that, you must always be cognizant of your surroundings. Especially in this day where people have those boxes that seem to paint the environment around them and store it like an artist's painting, allowing them to view it at any time.
You see.
So in this age of surveillance and espionage, you would do well to assume that you are always being watched by someone or something. As you asked, there are many ways to maintain the Masquerade. Most Kindred, and I dare say, the safest method of preserving it, simply depart from their old haunts and past shackles. If those who cared most about you have no reason to believe you exist anymore, then it lends credence to their vehement denial should anyone ever claim to have seen you one fateful night.
See.
Are you capable of doing that, Garrett?
That's easy enough.
Everyone from your past life? Anyone who had any reason at all to care about your comings and goings? You can cut them off and never speak to or see them again?
If it requires surviving, then by all means.
Very well. Now, as I said, that is just one way. The way that I tend to think is best. But all I will say is that you must decide how to extricate yourself from the Gordian knot that was your previous life. Should you choose to keep those connections alive, and those bonds fastened around your carcass, then your existence as a kindred will be stalked by anguish and likely murdered by despair.
Understood.
It's at this moment that Critias glares into the shadows behind you and barks, "Stop loitering already and state your business, lest final death is what you seek."
I turn to look.
As you turn to look, a feminine chuckle emanates from the frolicking shadows behind the tree line, or by the tree line. The moon dares to peek out from behind its trembling veil, briefly illuminating the figure centrally stalking down the aisle. And it begins to sprinkle, ever so lightly, like the fluttering of the final breaths escaping a dying person's mouth. "As expected of Master Critias," the figure chuckles, her voice ringing with that special kind of glee that comes from being unexpectedly caught by one's superior. Yes, it's all rather mundane for being as old as I. Critias waves off that false praise, and that's when you see, dressed in form-fitting blue jeans, elegant black boots, and a sleek black leather jacket, is Portia, whom you met at Elysium earlier tonight. She strides up to you. Her purple blouse is tucked into her jeans, highlighting the smooth flatness of her stomach and accentuating the curves of her chest. She leans in close to you, wraps her arms around you, and presses her lips right up against your ear, and then turns to look at Critias. You can feel every carnal breath caressing your ear as she whispers, "I'm simply here to see my prince."
I'm sorry.
As you say that, suddenly, Critias seems incredibly angry as he exclaims, "What did you just say?"
I stare at her.
A look of confusion mars her otherwise scarless, symmetrical, and statuesque face. Oh, I see there's been some kind of misunderstanding. She chuckles innocently. It's funny, isn't it? Despite it being the 21st century, our love metaphors are still so medieval, aren't they? He's my prince, for example, my knight in shining armor, and of course I bewitch him with my charms, because women are so evil and inherently untrustworthy. And yet, treat your woman like a queen, they say. Critias doesn't seem amused, but she continues. And yet, these monoliths of vanity, she gestures towards the skyscrapers in the distance, simulate the throne of the Almighty far better than the castles of kings ever did. For truly, amongst the host of the heavens doth man now sit atop his steel throne, as brittle as glass. Looking down from on high, he measures and judges his servile creations below him. I suppose some things never change, do they, Master Critias? Critias's moon-like eyes just burrowing into her. You can feel that supernatural presence also stepping on you once again.
I just don't say anything, I just listen.
Portia taps you on the shoulder. Come, let's go. We need to stash you somewhere safe for the approaching dawn.
Well, what about the rest of the lessons?
She says, well, you can't stay here, or anywhere near here.
I kind of look at Criticus. And I just look at her.
Critias bellows, the second tradition, domain. We'll discuss it later. For now, ruminate upon what we discussed. Morning is fast approaching. The next time I summon you to my eternal academy, you had best have an answer to the following question. What does the Masquerade mean to you, and how will you uphold it?
Okay.
Portia leans into you again and whispers, we have to teach you how to hunt tomorrow night too. She winks at you impishly.
Hunt?
Oh, it'll be fun. Come.
Okay. And I just begin following her.
As you start walking out of the amphitheater arm in arm with Portia, Critias inquires, Oh, do you have a cellular phone, Garrett?
I check. I think it was, what's her name took it. Do I still have it? I don't remember if I still have it. I thought it was taken.
I know several of them said they were going to take it. I don't think you ever gave it to them, though.
Yeah, I don't think I gave it to them. I pull it out.
Okay. Critias says, might I inspect it briefly?
I hand it to him.
He takes it from you. Without even glancing at it, he crushes the phone into dust, using only his pinky finger and thumb.
That was probably for the best.
No cell phones in the Camarilla, he replies gravely.
Okay.
And
I'm
then,
used to it.
Yep. And then he just kind of stares at you. And Portia tugs on your arm once again.
I begin walking with her.
Alright, so you guys walk into the night. And Portia takes you somewhere to escape the punishment of the day, of the dawn. So, you rest. At the mercy of Portia, although she must also rest too. And that's where we check in on Hermes.
Yep.
So, Hermes. You find yourself, the night after leaving Elysium, back on the campus of UChicago, where you typically hang out, and searching for answers to the problems that plague your kind. You are standing outside of a booming, raging frat party. There are people outside with red solo cups chugging things, and people of all genders and ages. Some look like they're teenagers like you'd expect from undergrads. Some look like they're in their 30s, maybe 40. But you're in front of a, brick building in that classic Gothic architecture style. And people see you standing out there. They're like, "Come on, man, don't just stand out there like a weirdo."
Might as well get this over with. Haven't done one of these in a while, I'll say. And I'll walk in.
Alright. As you say you haven't done one of these in a while, the people just give you kind of like a weird look. Several people shove red solo glasses into your hand.
I don't say this out loud, but it's a good thing that I have eat food.
Oh, by the way, would you have liked to have activated Blush of Life before going in?
Yes.
Alright, roll me a rouse check, please. Oh, by the way, everyone except for Will, go ahead and reset all damage to willpower health and reset your hunger down to 1, since we're going to be taking place in another night.
It seems to be going through.
Did you roll a rouse check at the bottom of the sheet?
Yeah. I guess I can do it manually. What's the,
It's just a D10.
D10? Okay. 6.
Alright, so you don't get hungrier, but now everyone who looks at you would have a hard time telling you're not a creepy undead.
Yay! I also have a specialty in Bane Mortality Subterfuge, so.
Yep. So if you ever have to make some sort of check to deceive someone that you're human, you'll get to add +1 to that roll.
Julio.
Alright, so you enter, and the music that's playing right now is what you hear. It's very loud. You got like EDM music going on, and people are like cheering and dancing. You see it's thick with the haze of smoke of some kind. Do you dare to breathe in this choking environment?
No, not at the moment. I don't think anyone would notice me at the moment. Let me refresh the page since I don't hear anything.
Okay.
But I can still talk.
Yeah, I just realized for some reason the scripts for Roll20 don't want to work today.
Yay!
So we might be rolling everything manually tonight, guys. Let me... Sorry for the intrusion into our story and the absolute disrespect to immersion. But let me try closing down the game and opening it again, see if I can get the scripts to work that way.
I'm gonna test roll to check.
Did
it
it work?
works for me.
Worked
Yep.
for you? Okay. Will, can you test it out too? Just
I
roll
can.
like a strength athletics roll or something. Okay, cool. There's Hermes' roll.
Yay!
Alright, that was weird. Sorry. Alright, back to our story. Hopefully that's like the first and only time we'll ever have immersion breaking things happen during a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, Chicago by Night.
Still can't hear, but oh well.
Okay, so you had just walked in the front door of this frat party at this frat house. The air is thick with a haze of smoke of some kind. You avoid breathing in for now, holding your breath. As you do now.
No, I don't hold my breath at all.
You are breathing now because you have Blush of Life, so yes, you do.
Alright, makes sense.
But, you know, at this moment it's not conspicuous enough to draw attention. When you step in, you see to the right and left. You know, the right, there's like one of those hutches on the window where people can, you know, sit on the window and look out it. Maybe not a hutch, but like a seating area. So there's a bunch of people crammed there. They're in the process of taking turns drinking and making out with each other. To the left, you see people are like dancing. You wind around into the first opening that you see, and it leads into like a large living space. And there you see is the classic frat party game of beer pong. But instead of just beer, it seems like they have an entire keg hooked up with a long, almost paper-like tube, paper mache tube. It looks like they are trying to recreate the straws from those like bucket hats, you know, that store liquid in them, except they've gone super extra. And so every time someone loses a point in ping pong, they have to, or not in ping pong, but in beer pong, they have to take this huge, almost fire hydrant-like hose and chug it. And people are like cheering and they're excited about it. This is quite the rowdy party.
Nice. Wait, did you say paper mache tube?
Paper mache looking tube, yeah.
That's gonna leak.
It's got some sort of treatment on the outside that prevents it from leaking, like some sort of sealant, but it looks like it's made out of paper mache.
Okay.
But this place is crowded, packed with partygoers, probably a few people who shouldn't be attending a frat party, but what is your plan?
For now, I'll just chill about with a feigned smile, just enjoying the atmosphere, or feigning enjoying the atmosphere. With the, you know, cup in my hand.
Alright, so you watch the beer pong game for a while. The two people seem to be pretty even until about halfway through it, they both look completely wasted and neither of them can make a point. So then the crowd gets angry and they just kind of push those people out of the way and they cycle in new players. And this seems to happen about every 15 minutes or so. People get so wasted they can't even hardly throw a ball straight, let alone look at someone 10 feet away. And as you look into the next room, it looks like a kitchen area. Surprisingly, there aren't too many people in there, but there is someone just sitting down. Looks like they're smoking a bong of some kind, and then they have a clear, like large bottle in their hand with clear liquid that they're chugging as well. So they're taking a hit of their bong and then chugging down some clear liquid. They seem very out of place. Everyone else in this party is very hype, very drunk, probably tripping on various kinds of drugs, but this person seems super down.
Do I recognize them at all?
You do not.
I haven't recognized anyone from Kindred Society so far.
There do not appear to be any kindred here, no. That you have seen anyway.
I'll walk up to the individual at the table and just ask, mind if I take a spin?
Take a spin? Oh, I don't want to dance, no thanks.
No, I'm the bong.
Oh. They look at it. I mean, we kind of just got over COVID less than a year ago. Seems like a bad idea.
I like, fair? That's fair.
But if you want to hang out, I don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Alright.
And I'll sit down.
So this table is like one of those really old style tables with the oldest possible chairs. Like the wooden designs. You pull it out, sit next to this person. You realize that they do have a rather androgynous appearance. Although, their hair is pretty long. And they're just sitting there, cycling between hit of the bong, chugging the clear liquid. And after maybe 30 to 45 seconds of you sitting there, they look over at you, and they're like, "So, what brings you to..." And then they make a big gesture to like the whole place.
Boredom, mostly.
I wish life could be that simple.
Well, what about you? Seem pretty lonely here, if I can say so.
Funny, isn't it? Surrounded by all these people, yet I can feel like I'm the most isolated person.
Yeah, that's what happens whenever you're alone in the kitchen. But you're letting me sit by you, so I guess that's something.
It's probably the Mary Jane mellowing me out a little bit. Or it could be the vodka, or maybe both.
Tends to mellow you out, doesn't it?
Yeah. Trying to turn out all the voices in my head. Trying to drown them in vodka.
All the voices?
Yeah. It's just... Ever since Eve was murdered, I just haven't known what to do with myself.
Shit. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Or maybe you're not. I don't know. I don't want to assume.
Yeah. Rough business then. I didn't know him, but I just shake my head.
Oh, she was quite marvelous, let me tell you. You know, it was also kind of weird. 'Cause she was so open and willing to help people. She even helped me understand myself.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I lived my whole life. And you're kind of starting to get the sense that this person's about to go on like a high drunken ramble about their life story.
I don't say anything. I'll let them.
Alright. They're like, yeah, you know, my whole life. My name's Matina, by the way. You might think that's a weird name. Well, it's a weird name for my weird situation and not really knowing what to do with myself. But Eve really helped me work through that and kind of helped me have confidence in myself, that I wasn't just some weirdo or some degenerate that deserved to be shunned from society.
I'm nodding along.
They say, you know, originally I was named Mateo, but
as they say that, I nod a little bit more understandably. Alright.
and as they say that, it's almost like they have this moment where they realize they're going on this sort of drunken high ramble and they look up at you and you're like, oh, you probably don't care, I'm sorry.
No. It probably helps to get it out. Hermes, he, him.
Ah, nice to meet you. Like I said, I'm Matina, and for now I think they, them works.
Alright, nice to meet you, Matina.
Thanks. Yeah, that was kind of my big discovery coming here at the University of Chicago to study, is I was dealing with a lot of dysmorphia, a lot of identity crises. Really didn't know what to do with myself, but when I met Eve, she was like the most understanding person I've ever met. Kind of come from a, let's say, a rather closed off town and upbringing. You know, the kind where you think that, you know, your existence is just wrong for your whole life.
Yeah.
But when I came here to Chicago and especially met Eve, it's like a whole different world up here. And after knowing Eve for a little while, I opened up to her, and surprisingly, she didn't reject me or treat me like I was some kind of monster, but she helped me work through the issues. And whenever I said I wanted to, thought I was gonna try for reassignment surgery or even just get hormones, she was even supportive of that too, and that really surprised me.
I'm going to roll a frenzy
For what?
because I'll just realize that someone who was a very good person was lost to this life, and because of my I am not a monster thing, I
Sure.
think that might trigger it.
So how about you roll me your unspent willpower? So not the blank boxes, but the green one, and you should have all of it.
Say again?
If you look on your sheet, it'll say
Yeah.
like willpower roll. Click on that. How many did you get?
4.
Okay, well you needed 1, so you feel the beast inside you like start coiling up and starting to stand up and rear its ugly head, but you manage to keep your wits about you and you don't turn into a psychopath.
I might grimace and shake my head. Some of the best people we lose.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna do now. And like, so I started as a guy, and I've had reassignment. So, and I was also dating Eve, so does that mean like, and they start crying, so does that mean I was just straight all along?
Shh. It's okay, it's okay. It's like, I'm Ace. I don't do any of that. So I understand the confusion. There's nothing wrong with you, dude.
They start crying. It's ugly tears. You can see they have
I move my chair a little closer to them in motion to put my hand on their shoulder.
They actually kind of lean forward towards you, partially without even realizing it. They just kind of like fall into your chest as you're the comforting voice right now. And a few seconds pass before they sit up and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I wasn't even thinking."
No. It's okay. It's okay.
And you see that they have eyeliner and mascara on that's now just running down their face. They're like, yeah, Eve was truly a gem in this world, and both her and her roommate were just taken like that. And now I feel like there's no one here who understands me.
That's not true. You know, a Professor Abdul Rashid.
Oh, sorry, you kind of cut out there. What'd you say?
Do you know a Professor Abdul Rashid? He goes by Professor Hakim.
Is it... do they... religious studies? Anthropology? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that guy.
Yeah, he's a very good guy to talk to.
Is he here, though? I seem to recall he was on some sort of, like, trip or something, whatever it's called in academia.
Yeah. I don't know when he's gonna be back, but keep an eye out for him. He's a good guy. He's, you know, he goes to, you know, bad parts of the world and gets people like you or me out of bad situations.
Like you.
Well, I'm Ace, so it's something.
Oh, your family wasn't very accepting of you, huh?
They kinda passed on before I even figured it out.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, like you said to me, just because you're different doesn't mean there's something wrong with you.
I give a big smile.
They like reach across the table, I mean, and pull out some tissues and try wiping their face. And they're like, God, here I am at a rave, bawling my eyes out like a baby to some stranger I don't even know.
It's totally understandable what happened.
You know, I don't think she would want me to lose myself in drugs and alcohol. It just seems to be the only thing that stops the pain.
Well, in moderation, it can help, but don't lose yourself in it.
Sometimes I wonder if without her, if there's anything to even lose in it.
There always is. We're always our own people. And when we lose someone, they become part of us. So we can't lose ourselves, or else they'll be gone twice.
Huh.
So keep on going.
Never thought of it like that before.
That's how I've thought about it.
Makes a lot of sense. I guess you could say that Eve basically helped me find my life, and it would be a disservice to her to lose it again just because she was so disgustingly taken from us. So unfairly taken.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My curiosity just gets the better of me. Do you know about anything that happened besides what people have heard?
Well, they were having, her and her roommates were supposed to be having their weekly movie night. It's where, they kind of cycled every week, where one of them was going to cook some sort of nice dinner, and they were going to get out candles and just kind of feel all prim and proper and watch movies.
What was the movie night theme?
It was kind of whatever they were feeling. Usually either something to help them forget what was happening or something to kind of move them forward. But apparently there wasn't, from what I've heard anyway, there weren't any movies playing when they were... But oh god. They start crying again.
Shh. It's okay. Sorry for asking.
She,
There was no movies playing?
yeah, I guess they didn't make it that far. Can you imagine that, having some plan with your friends that you're about to do and then just being murdered before you can do it?
Yeah. I can imagine something like that happening.
She was working on her MPA, I actually think all of her roommates, all three of them, well, I mean her plus her two roommates, they were all freshmen in grad school this semester.
2 roommates?
Well, yeah, I mean, her and Liz, the other roommate, were found dead, but the third person is assumed dead. We don't know where she is.
What was her name?
Arceli, I think? She's one of those... They, hold up their fists like they're hammering a gavel, but they can't quite find the words. Like one of those...
Law students.
Something like that. Something related to law. Even if not law specifically. She was going in that general direction.
Alright.
But yeah, Eve was in her MBA. Liz was broadcast journalism. And the other girl, Marcelli, I think, was something related to law. They were all excited about the rest of their lives, kind of like me. But now they don't get that. And that third roommate, that Arcelli person, she kind of seemed like a real firecracker, if you know what I mean.
Always rocking the boat.
She was very passionate, let's say, about what needed to be fixed in the world. Said that she was going to make it happen. That's what her studies were about. And she was going to change the world for the better. I mean,
I hope we can find her.
I don't mean to speak ill of the dead, but if anyone's going to be a target for murder, I would think it would be her, not the other two.
Shit, maybe you're right.
And then they kind of look at the vodka and the bong, like, oh god, I did not just say that. I'm so sorry. I normally don't talk like this.
No. It's fine. It's fine. Were any of the girls involved in anything beforehand? I doubt they'd be, given their backgrounds.
You mean like drugs or something?
Yeah, or anything shady, or even clubs, as in like school clubs.
Nothing shady that I know of. I mean, typical college students, they would occasionally go to parties or, go to strip clubs and whatnot, but I mean, who doesn't?
I raise my hand.
They look at you and they're like, we're not in class, you can say whatever you want to say.
No, I mean, as in, who doesn't?
Oh.
Raise hand.
Oh. You don't even go to any of, like, your program's functions?
I do that.
Well, that's something.
I just don't go to big parties like this. Mostly this was just a whim.
They look at the bong and the vodka and they're like, I mean, you're really not missing much. I don't know why I'm here, to be honest.
Well, you're welcome to forget. But I don't think she'd want you to forget. I think she wants you to keep going. Live for her. You know?
Makes sense. They look at you, and although their eyes are red, having cried many tears, and somewhat puffy, their eyes I mean, you can tell that there's genuine gratitude and acceptance, if you will, in their eyes, as they say, normally people give you those pep talks and try to tell you how things are after you've lost someone that's close to you, and they all suck and they're all full of shit, but I mean this. Thank you for tonight.
Thank you for listening.
That's what I should be saying to you.
Sorry, I don't know why I said it like that, but you're welcome.
I'm sorry for crying my whole life story to you. You probably don't care.
Nah. And I do mean about, once Professor Hakim shows his face here again. Like, I think he's on an archaeological dig right now.
Alright. Yeah, I'll see if he has any room in his schedule. She puts they put the vodka bottle down and kind of grind out the bong, and they're like, well, I think I'm done for the night. I've gotten something better than what I came here for. And they stand up.
You have a good one.
You too. Try not to let the grim mood that's been spreading through the campus gets you down too much.
I'll try not. You too. Have a good night.
They,
And I'm going to, as they leave, I'm gonna walk back into more of the more crowdy areas.
Okay. So you spend a good chunk of the night just kind of mingling and asking people around. Go ahead and make a manipulation plus subterfuge roll to see if you're able to do it in a way that doesn't arouse suspicion. Two successes is what you needed. So you go throughout the night asking people questions. Most people who are here don't seem like they really knew who either Eve Kelly or Liz Boucher were, or this Arcelli person. They just kind of give you all the standard responses like, oh yeah, some grad school chick or some broadcasting chick, stuff like that. Seems like the most valuable information you got was from Matina.
Alrighty. That's what I was expecting.
And so, Garrett, that same night, you awaken in the darkness. You feel hair kind of draping across your cheek and down onto your chest. As you look up, you realize that Portia is above you and looking down at and on you.
Can I help you?
Oh, good, you're finally awake. Starting to think I would have to shake you awake. Well, go ahead and make a rouse check for me, Garrett. Alright, you do not get hungrier. What's your hunger at currently?
1.
Okay. She looks at you and she's like, you need to figure out how to get food.
Can't we just, I don't know, go get it from that one place?
Oh, you mean Elysium? Well, what are you going to do if you find yourself busy on a given night and you can't make it to Elysium? And more importantly, you need to learn how to deal with people whenever you do feel that hunger. Because let me tell you something. Hunger is your new normal. You may think that you have been hungry in your life before, but nothing you've ever experienced can possibly prepare you for the depths and magnitude of the hunger that will forever haunt you for the rest of your unlife. And learning how to manage those hunger pains is important for you to not wake up dead tomorrow, or tonight, or anytime. Remember that little lesson Critias gave you about the Masquerade?
I remember.
What do you think is going to happen if you lose yourself to your hunger in the middle of a public place?
That's if that happens.
Oh, trust me, it's not if, it's when.
You
See,
it sounds like from experience you had this.
everyone knows, everyone who's been around for a while. See those gifts that Critias was asking you about last night? When you use them, it usually takes something out of you. You have to use that blood that's been sleeping inside you. You have to call upon the power of that other presence you've been feeling. It consumes so much of you. It seeks to devour everything about you, and the only way to stop it is to make sure that you remain filled with healthy blood. So, she pulls you up from where you were sleeping. Last night, I suggested we start with the classic hunting approach, which was intimidating or scaring someone. into giving themselves to you. You, however, immediately defaulted to trying to seduce them. Why do you think that was?
I do not know. To be perfectly honest.
Exactly. So we need to figure it out. There are potentially infinitely many ways you could acquire blood, but you'll find that that presence within you prefers things a certain way. And the sooner we can figure out what that preference is, the easier your unlife will be.
Okay.
And also we need to work on you being able to command your gifts.
Should we start on that first then? That sounds way more interesting.
Oh, trust me. Hunting is not only essential, but some of the most fun you can ever have as a kindred. So, Lasombra, huh? I knew you were interesting the moment I saw you. Show me something, Lasombra E.
I once again try to focus onto the shadow.
Okay, does that power require a rouse check?
Let's see. Not the first one.
You were trying for the second one though, right?
Yeah, but the second one...
Let's go ahead and hit display. One rouse check, yep, so go ahead and roll that.
Okay.
You are successful. So, you're in this dark space. You realize the space around you is wooden. Almost looks like you are like sleeping inside a stairwell in some abandoned building. You call forth some of the shadows there, and you find that your shadow merges with it, and now you cast a long shadow. She applauds. Portia applauds. Good, good, good. Now, did you feel it just now? Did you feel that pang inside you? That yearning for more blood?
Not really.
But you still felt it somewhat. All that means is that in this particular instance, you got a little lucky. You were able to call forth your power without exhausting yourself. But trust me, when situations get stressful, or whenever you are not so in such a commanding position of yourself, that hunger will stalk you, will hunt you down, and it will consume you if you're not careful. But let's work on finding some prey. So this time, let's actually follow directions. We're in an abandoned neighborhood. There are some homeless people around here. Why don't you go out there and force someone to be your meal?
I'd rather not.
You're gonna have to eat some way. Look, I know that you're still thinking about life in terms of a human perspective, but you're simply just gonna have to get over that. If you don't figure out how it is that you can feed, then she kind of does a wiping motion over like your body. Like, this person that you think you are right now won't exist for very long.
Okay.
Experimentation is key in this early phase. So, go out there and show me what it's like to hunt as a predator.
I just roll my eyes and begin walking out.
Alright, so you begin walking out. you realize that you're actually pretty close to your old stomping grounds, that homeless tent city that you lived in. And there are a plethora of homeless people around, some tweaking out on drugs, others just kind of cozying up underneath all their stuff, trying to stay warm for the night. There are plenty of options for prey and or food.
And as I begin walking out, I pause. I look back and I begin looking around. Is Scooby with me?
He is not.
Upon that realization, I turn and go back to where Elysium is.
You have no idea where that is. Do you mean where you
The
were with
last
Portia?
one. Yeah.
Okay, so you go take a few steps back into the little abandoned building where Portia is. She's like, didn't hear any screams and don't see any blood.
Do you know where that place, Elysium, was? Can we go back there real quick?
Why?
I left something important to me, and I want it back.
And what was this thing?
My dog.
Oh, you mean this? She snaps her fingers and Scooby comes bounding out from another hole and jumps on you.
Okay.
You look at Scooby's side, from where he was torn up. You don't really remember why or how, but his whole side was basically almost torn off. He's got a small layer of skin over it now, but you can tell that he's still very wounded, and it would definitely be in his best interest to not be taken out places for at least a week or so.
Okay, that takes care of that problem.
As he jumps off of you, he's kind of limping, you see, as he's trying to pace around excitedly, but he's limping and kind of dragging one side of his body.
I kind of lay Scooby just to rest, and after that, I'll head back out.
Okay, as you lay Scooby down, Portia says, you know, one thing you can do to help him is to feed him your blood.
Oh. I can help.
Yes, by the looks of him, it seems that you already fed him some, but it's going to take at least one more dose to fully transform him.
I begin doing so.
Alright. You remember your lesson from the previous night from Charlotte and the others? Call forth the blood on your wrist, and first Scooby seems a little terrified, but you're able to manipulate your dog into drinking your blood. There's a part of you inside that feels like this is so wrong, but he laps it up. You gain a hunger,
Okay.
and Scooby goes to sleep with a whimper.
Curious question. If we can do that to normal creatures, what if a kindred does it to another kindred?
She looks up like she's searching for the right words. She's like, depending on your perspective, that can either be really fun or really not.
How so?
Well, as soon as your dog here recovers from his grievous injuries, you'll realize it. You may have thought that he was loyal to you before, but you'll completely redefine that word once you see how he behaves once he fully recovers.
Intriguing. So, if per se, Kindred were to do that, the same result would happen.
Well, it's a little bit different. When Kindred give their blood to mortal creatures begin to change. Your dog right now is undergoing a process that we Kindred call ghouling. It's a derogatory term, but it basically just means that your vitae is arresting their biological functions and also granting them part of your supernatural power. But there's a cost to this. You are going to have to make sure that you feed your dog every single month. If you don't, your dog could go insane and could even start attacking you and everything it sees and get itself killed. Remember that lesson about the Masquerade last night?
I do.
Dogs, animals, perhaps might not be so obviously supernatural, but if you were to do that to a human, imagine the repercussions from them being deprived of blood, going insane, and what Masquerade violations they could cause.
Intriguing. But the question still remains, what if a kindred does it to another kindred?
Well, like I said, that entirely depends on the kindred involved. Some kindred like to do it as a sort of game of love, to show their love for each other. Others use it as a tool to control their enemies or their allies. Others do it as a type of punishment. Way to ensure loyalty.
I see.
It's called the blood bond. It's perhaps one of the most dangerous things a kindred can get involved in, although you'll find that many kindred are far too prideful to ever admit that they were subjected to one.
And this blood bond, once it's done, it's done. Sort of like how what I did to my dog.
Oh yes, there's no going back. Your dog will never be a normal dog, and if you stop feeding him, he will turn into a monster. Same with a human. With kindred, it's a little bit different. Yeah, like I said, it makes sure that you aren't going to be a problem for the regnant, as they're called, the person establishing the blood bond.
I see. Forced loyalty.
Isn't all loyalty forced?
It's command and demanded.
Exactly. You either hold something hostage to demand to ensure someone's loyalty, or you convince them that you're worth being loyal to. In either situation, it was never really theirs to surrender. It was there to be taken.
Unless... And I ponder on that thought as I walk out.
She says, "Oh, and do hurry."
Hurry.
She says, "Yes, we have to get you back to Critias, remember?"
Oh, right. This won't take long.
So you walk outside and there are many homeless out there.
I find one that is the most isolated.
Alright, venture down some of the alleyways and see one guy with like a shopping cart full of stuff, and he's got several trash bags of stuff lining half of this alleyway, and he's sleeping underneath some cardboard boxes.
I kinda point to him, I say, "Hey, you have a moment?"
You wake him up, he sits up, and he's like, oh, that's the bright idea, man. I'm trying to get some sleep here.
I need your help real quick.
Not interested.
Now, what's that over there? And I point towards a
You point down
Towards
the
the
other
one.
way. He doesn't look away. He's like, look, man, I don't want whatever you're selling. And you remember you are wearing pretty nice clothes, especially for this district, this neighborhood.
Alright. Nice. I
And you remember that Portia wants you to try to force someone into being your food to hunt them.
Oh well. I grab him by the throat.
Okay. Do you happen to have potence?
Potence? No.
As in dots. Okay. So he's laying down there. You grab him by the throat, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?"
And I take a bite.
Oh right. So you just sink your fangs into him. This is, I think, your first real-time feeding.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and give me a hunger frenzy roll. So if you go to the bottom of your sheet, click frenzy. You need 2
And-
successes.
No modifiers.
Correct.
Difficulty
2.
2. Okay.
All right. So as you get your first drink into this person, it is glorious. You may have drinking in the past. You may have drank in the past. You may have tasted things that you thought were delicious. You may have had experiences that you thought were life-defining. But all of those pale in comparison to the rush you feel as this rich fluid seeps down your throat. You can feel the very life of this person in every single drink, and it is absolutely exhilarating. Part of you almost lose your own consciousness in that moment and feel that other presence inside you just leap forward, trying to drink everything from this person. But you may black out for a second, but you come back to your senses quickly. You can feel this person growing more and more limp in your grasp. How much do you drink from this person?
Enough to go back down to 1.
Alright. So, you get just a sip. And as you pull your fangs out of the person, he is just completely, almost comatose. You're just like,
And I look at him and I say, forget.
Do you have cloud memory?
I do.
Alright. He is still dazed from the kiss, so no problem at all. He was already in a fog, and after you say that, he's in even more of a fog. He's just like, he kind of looks like he's actually on drugs right now.
I clean the blood from his neck and then, not even gently, I just put him down.
Alright, you just toss him against the wall, and he's just like,
And I walk away.
Alright, you walk back to Portia, and she's like, okay, good. Got a little bit violent over there.
It was average.
So tell me, did that speak to you? That method of hunting? Alright. So it's something you could do if needed, but it wasn't your favorite. Well, just keep trying. Oh, and there's one more thing. There is only one way to make that hunger that's always haunting you go away. But even when it goes away, it's but for a fleeting moment.
And pray do tell.
A wicked smile crosses her face as she looks you right in the eye and says, drinking every last drop of blood a person has, killing them.
Interesting. And that's the only way.
That is the only way.
I thought for a second you were gonna tell me the only way was for you to feed onto another kindred.
Oh no, that is not something you want to do.
Oh, why is that? Well, obviously, of course.
Yeah, that. But anyway, let's get you to where you need to go.
Alright,
So Portia takes you back to Chicago, and then you remember, or on the way there you remember that you were actually supposed to go visit the prince every night as well.
So I think I will go to Criticus first, because he would be closer, right? And I know where to go to find him.
From where you are now, it would actually be closer to step by Elysium if it's in the same spot.
Okay. And there wasn't a time range between the two, right? I just had to meet them at the night.
Correct.
So I will go to the prince first.
Alright, so you tell Portia this. She tells you it's closer to go to Elysium. You go back to the Civic Opera Theater. You meet the prince. And once again in private, you have your nightly ritual. Unless you're disobeying the prince.
Well, I wanted to talk to him.
You remember that whenever you first went to see the prince, it wasn't really this is a conversation. It was more of a, you have these two choices and that's all we're talking about.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay.
And as you are brought back to the prince, by the way, I never showed you guys the prince. Prince Jackson, you should be able to see that. Do you see that? Okay, yeah. So, as you're brought back at the end of another meeting, and he simply goes through the same process as last time. Do you continue like last time?
Well, don't really have a choice, so yeah.
Yep. And he told you as much last time too, so you do that. Then you come back the next night and do the same thing. And over the next night or so, you and Portia try out various different kinds of hunting. You started with, just straight up like intimidation and forceful feeding. Then you try sort of like a typical hunter animal, like you stalk someone, find them in the alleyway, and then jump on them. You also try hunting down dangerous people, like you follow some gangbangers, jump in on one of them, isolate one of them, and hunt on them. How did that one make Garrett feel?
That one definitely was more enjoyable than the others.
Okay. Portia seems pleased with the progress. She's like, well, maybe that's how you like to feed. Then you try feeding from drug addicts, and you discover that there are some side effects to drinking from drug addicts or people with drugs in their system, and you spend the next few hours kind of tripping. How did that one make Garrett feel? Is that something he would prefer to do again?
Definitely not.
All right.
Ever.
You also go, you break into people's houses and feed on them while they're asleep. Try all sorts of different things. You haven't found a pattern yet, but maybe you will. So a couple nights pass. You go back to the prince every night, till after 3 nights. You go back to see Critias, and he doesn't ask you. He just starts walking away, and you can feel from that first time you met him, where he just absolutely crushed your own identity and your own will within the cracking foundations of your own being. That same pressure just kind of like digs into the bowels of your spirit and forces you with him. Takes you to Charlotte's apartment and says some interesting things to her. And there's an awkward moment where after he leaves, you're kind of supposed to hang out there with Charlotte. Charlotte tells you she has some things to take care of, but that the group is meeting soon. And she tells you to go wait downstairs for the rest of the group to arrive.
I do so.
All right. And Mike, would you have sent a text to anyone at this point about your particular issue?
Yes.
Texting everyone? Or just Charlotte?
Just Charlotte,
Alright.
because she was the only one there for it.
So, Ryder, you receive a text from Charlotte saying that there's urgent business to take care of. Report to the campus. Hermes, you receive that same text as well.
Alright.
So, everyone reconvenes at the University of Chicago. And again, this has been a few nights since we last left off our chapter. So again,
So,
erase all willpower and health damage. Your hunger is back to 1.
oh, perfect, because I was at 4.
And so as you all gather, you realize that Garrett, that new kindred that was just introduced and somehow lived through the first night of his existence, is waiting for you all.
Huh. Glad to see you're still among the dead.
I mean,
I just realized through that sentence that it wouldn't make sense either way.
oh no, I feel more alive than I ever did.
Good to hear. Garrett, right?
Correct.
I'm curious. What clan do you belong to?
Wouldn't everyone like to know?
Actually, I'll be honest, I couldn't care less.
That's the spirit.
I'll get it one day.
Will you, though?
Hopefully.
Oh, why are you so interested?
I have a very curious personality.
Curious. Do tell.
Well, I'll tell you probably don't know much right now, but I'm Premier.
I have no idea what that means.
We deal in sorcery. Blood sorcery, to be precise. We're basically the mages.
They do voodoo.
Oh.
Hoodoo?
Exactly.
You're not even gonna continue on with the song.
No, I'm fine.
And what about you?
Me?
Yeah, what are you?
Huh. Well, I am quite rare and exotic. How about you?
Apparently I am as well.
Oh,
Okay, now you have to tell me, please.
Oh, what do I get out of it? Maybe I'll tell you. If I like the answer.
What kind of abilities do you have?
Many. And none. Depends on what I'm feeling that day. Or night.
Yeah, that's usually the term that we use. Do you have any abilities to see into the ether, as it were?
I have no idea what that means. You have to use little words. I'm not that, bright.
Basically, I'm just asking if you have the ability to, like, sense the supernatural. Basically, I was going to offer teaching you a power or two. But since we might not have anything in common in that aspect, it might be moot.
Well, it depends. What is this power?
Oh, like I said, it's the ability to sense and see and hear the supernatural, especially ghosts. and the like.
Sense, hear, see?
Yes. Basically like the Sixth Sense.
I don't
Intriguing.
suppose your sixth sense can pick up where Charlotte is right now, or does anyone know why she isn't here when she called us all in the first place?
Good point. Maybe
I'm
she's
sure
busy.
she's just running late. Maybe she's doing her hair. About that, I'm willing to accept that. However, if you cannot teach me a skill, I request that you find someone to teach me something instead.
Teach you what?
Well, he said he could teach me a possible skill.
If we had something in common.
And if we don't, he would help me find someone that would.
I think that might be doable.
Perfect.
How? It hasn't even been a month. You're adapting awfully well for.
Thank you. I am a Lasombra.
None of you know what that means.
Not even me?
Not even you.
Mike's like, uh-huh, and that's supposed to impress me because...
The most that you get, Hermes, is kind of sounds Spanish.
Yeah, the shade or the shadow. Come again? Lasandra? You didn't make that one up, did you? 'Cause
No.
I've never heard of that,
A
and I've done
deal.
my research.
Apparently you haven't dug deep enough.
I'm gonna have to fix that when I get back to the Chantry.
Careful now.
Sunbra.
Look, Garrett, it's kind of good that you're adapting well and all that, but
I don't really have a choice.
Kinda has a point.
After all,
Yeah, it's either conform or die.
and I began looking around. I don't know who's watching.
right. Does any of you received any messages or instruction from Charlotte telling us why we're here?
Oh, well, I assume she gathered all of you here because I sent her something.
Oh, what did you send her?
So, okay, so where exactly are we?
You are currently standing outside the one of the apartment complexes that the university kind of furnishes.
Let's take a walk, and I'm going away. Like, I want to make sure no one could possibly hear what I'm about to say.
All right, so you guys take a walk and go down Hyde Park in the more. You take some of the trails where there are very few, if any, people around.
Can I see, like, do I feel like I'm alone, or do I feel like somebody tailed us?
Yeah, I'm gonna do see the unseen or sense the unseen.
Yeah, roll me with Auspex, Hermes.
When you said we're going somewhere private to discuss something, I didn't think you'd bring us here.
Well, I just want to make sure there weren't any people around.
So Hermes,
Well,
as you scan the environment, you detect nothing supernatural around you. There are no.
Besides us.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
And you're just looking around, Mike. There don't seem to be any. You've walked far enough down this trail, especially at this time of night. Doesn't seem like there's anyone nearby.
Well, no spooky stuff around us besides us.
Well, let me cut to the chase. You all know about the incident that happened at the dorms, right?
Unfortunately.
Well, Charlotte asked a favor of me to go in and investigate, which I did. The only downside is Someone hacked into the footage of the dorm room and has me on video.
Shit.
They taunted me, but they should have, I guess, covered their tracks better, because an associate of mine tracked them down to a terminal. I know where they are, and I am to meet them tonight, to hope for a peaceful resolution to this scenario.
Are they
you all-
kindred or just
That's the
spotted
part.
you?
That's the part I don't know. And let's just say their computer skills are some of the best in the business, because it took my friend quite some time to find them. So I'm hoping for a peaceful resolution to this, because if it gets violent, who knows? They could have some contingencies in place that spread this, and everyone has a very unfortunate time. Me specifically. So you all don't have to come help me if you don't want to. And Garrett, I take it, nice to meet you again. You seem to understand very well how things work in our society of favors and stuff. If you could say that you helped stop a potential leak, and you also helped solve the mystery of Master Critias's domain, that might get you some favor. Might not be much, but it's a start, considering I'm assuming you have no connections.
That could get me favors with possibly one favor with Criticus. But I'm also helping you. So
I'll be honest. You can help us if you want. I'm not offering you anything, and you can sit out and you get nothing from Critias.
I feel like I should help a little bit. This case intrigues me.
Yes.
Or
or
we help each other out. We form an alliance. Your benefit is my benefit. Vice versa as well.
okay. So we just come into an agreement to help each other out with whatever matters come up. Instead of a singular boon, we just kind of form an alliance. That's what you're suggesting? Not an official boon of me owing you something?
As long as we can help each other out. And only if it doesn't endanger one of us fully. So if you do something dumb or I do something dumb, we are not entitled to help each other unless perhaps you can benefit or I benefit from that result.
And one thing for the rest of you to keep in mind is you are all, except for Garrett obviously, you are all very aware that there should be no world in which Garrett's standing before you right now. So the mystery of how he managed to survive being introduced as a vagabond Kindred to the prince should trouble you.
Yeah. I think that would be beneficial for all of us.
I mean, I'm willing to have you as an ally, because if the prince himself deemed you to live, when you really shouldn't, well, live is a loose term with us, but if he spared you, then I'm willing to enter in this agreement, and of course if one of us does something dumb, we're not obliged to bail the other person out.
Unless, of course, it's a benefit.
Yes, of course. So, I'm assuming a scenario. So let's say you do something dumb, I could get something out of helping you, I'll help you. Is that pretty much what you're getting at?
Of course. Now, if there's no way we can help out each other, then unfortunately, I understand if one party backs away.
I can understand these terms, because I can think of some scenarios where there's just nothing I could do to get you out of a scenario, or nothing you could do to help me.
Precisely.
I think
No
we'll get
point of
along just
endangering
fine.
one another.
Yes.
Alright.
So, before we go, in case this gets hairy, I know you can control shadows because you tried to use that on me. Other than that, would you care to share? You don't have to, because I couldn't care less. But do you want to at least? what you can do?
Control shadows.
And
Would I know anything about that?
you do not. And keep in mind, Garrett, you're not entirely sure what you can do. You just happen to know that that's what he just mentioned is something you can do. Garrett, are you there?
Consciously,
Oh, okay.
I know I can control shadows.
Okay.
Beyond that, it's sort of at the moment. So if you see something that I do, please inform me.
Understood. Yeah, I keep forgetting. It's been only a couple days since you returned.
Yet I'm doing very well off.
Yeah, no, you've adapted very fine. Oh, the one you met, Portia was her name? How'd that go?
Yeah. It's weird.
No, she couldn't be your sire since he's not dead. Oh, not final dead.
Oh, if it was my sire, I would gladly love to talk to them.
Garrett, this is not exactly related to what we're meeting up for, but last I recall, you were learning or training under a mentor, right? That they assigned you to get you familiar with the system.
Yes, it was.
I understand the system, yes.
Well,
OOC, you've only covered one lesson.
I know.
Okay.
well, I don't know how long you've been studying under him since you embraced, but I assume you've learned more than I have in my, well, almost a decade since I embraced. I know jack shit. I don't suppose you could put in some words, see if he's willing to accept another non-newcomer, but really, I think I need to start picking up knowledge about this world I'm in.
To do that would probably risk me owing a favor to him. So,
Well, in that case, all I ask is your permission for me to come along with you, and I'll plead for that favor by myself.
I look at Garrett. You should totally ask for the keys to his car for a night.
no. I understand that is like his pride and joy.
Do I get a response out of Ryder when I say that?
Look, I look at him and I say, dude, what is with you in my car? It's a fucking Toyota Camry.
See, there it is. That's what I wanted.
Given that it's Critias and he's a bit crabby,
He's a very by-the-books person. It's
Yeah.
gonna be...
Well,
quite...
I have my reasons. My sire isn't exactly, well, educational with me. He gave me guidelines, but left me to myself most of the time. And
What clan?
well, this is why I asked, because I believe I'm, well, the same clan as your mentor.
Oh,
bruh.
makes sense.
Yeah. And I still don't know why whenever I see Kindred say that name, it's like they're talking about gangsters.
Beats the fuck out of me. Bruja is Spanish for witch. Doesn't make any damn sense.
If I may, Ryder, there might be something that requires less effort on everyone's part. Charlotte, even though she isn't here right now, knows the most about this society out of all of us combined, it appears. Why not just ask her? Because in the sense we're helping solve a case she was put in charge of. You do your part to help her, then you ask her to teach you something about Kindred society.
Oh, I was
Good
planning
idea,
to do
actually.
that too. I was just getting as many sources of information as I
That's
could.
fair, but the other night when I met Critias, I don't know if he's the kind of person you want to interact with unless you can avoid it, or if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
Well,
You
if
do what you
he-
want. I was just throwing that out there as an idea.
Unless, of course, you do want to owe a favor to him. Maybe it become beneficial to you.
Well, if I asked him to teach me, then yes, I would owe him. But considering that I can't run from this world any longer, since it's in my blood, literally, might as well just do what I have some experience in, which is to blend in.
Mike, the hour draws near. It will take you quite some time to get to where you need to go. It is about the time to start looking for transportation.
And anyways, we can continue this conversation later. We gotta go.
Alright.
Go where exactly?
Ryder, I assume you have your car?
Yes.
To the car. And I just start walking towards his car.
Oh, jeez, do none of you have a car? And then I start walking.
So let's see.
I'm like,
I
There's,
was a student.
there's 4 of you, so you can all fit in Ryder's car. One of you sits in the front seat.
I look and I'm like, I might have money, but I do not have a car. Kind of hard to buy one now that I'm
Just get one that second hand. It's not even that expensive.
I
What
think I
car
had the
dealers
best
are open?
excuse. I was homeless.
Alright, so you all hop in the car. Mike gives you the address, Ryder. You plug it into your GPS, and you guys begin to drive there.
Actually,
Oh,
is a phone GPS or car GPS?
Ryder?
Car does not have GPS. Rather uses burner phones, so
Well, I was gonna say Mike wasn't gonna put it anywhere digital. He was just gonna give him like verbal instructions.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So you looked it up on a map and you know how to get there. Alright,
Yeah.
so Mike's pretty occupied during the trip giving directions, and Ryder's pretty occupied listening to those directions. So you guys travel for about 30 or so minutes. And that's where we're going to take a break. We'll pick up when you arrive.
Yay! I'm having good fun so far.
Oh, I'm enjoying this.
Now I can turn back on the blood pool.
This is gonna be fun.
Alrighty, be back in 10 minutes, everybody.
I knew you, James, were going to be the hardest part to this.
Oh yeah, dealing with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Oh,
Vampire
James,
Nate.
you were gone during
Uh-huh.
the exposition, which kind of gave the background. But also, we finally have an official overlay for this story, so if you want to take a look at
Oh,
it,
let me log into Twitch.
it's pretty sweet. Basically, the synopsis of the exposition was
Uh-huh.
the fact that Garrett survived is basically the talk of Kindred society. Of course, everyone who matters isn't saying anything, but the lesser people have all sorts of wild rumors and theories that they're perpetuating. And it seems like everyone's basically focused on Garrett now and why he's still alive when he should be dead. And like everyone knows that there is no world in which he's alive, and yet here he is alive. And that kind
Oh,
of
that's why Mike was so interested in getting an alliance.
right. But that's also what's fueling all these crazy sort of conspiracy theories that all these other Kindred or all these unimportant Kindred are coming up with. People like you guys.
Okay.
That's basically
Oh,
what
I
I
like
missed.
the overlay.
Oh yeah,
Thanks.
that is badass.
Yeah, no, that's really
Also,
cool.
I love your storyteller picture.
Thanks.
That's
Wait,
really
let me
cute.
zoom in on that. What the? Oh, nice.
Yep, the mysterious, shapeless, shape-changing, shadowy figure in the background.
Okay, BRB peeps.
Me too.
Nate back.
I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here.
No. Sorry.
You know, looking at the overlay, I think I might undo the chroma key and just have, like, whenever the blood pool is up, just have it be a complete pool of rippling blood instead of, like, filtering through it.
That'd be cool.
Talking about the overlay.
I may be interested to see what that looks like.
Yeah. Because, like, for now it's supposed to be like you're looking through the blood pool into it. But I think it might be more cool to have it just be a complete pool of blood and then kind of turn off the blood pool after you, like, quote unquote, dive into it to watch the story.
Hmm.
That's what I've been doing already, is like, once the story actually starts, turn off the blood pool. But anyway, we are all here, so let's dive in.
Alar, did we hear that during the drive there, or was
No,
this
that was on your
earlier?
drive to meet up with everybody at Chicago.
I see.
So, you all eventually realize that where Garrett is taking you is none other than Adler Planetarium. So, do you all just want to stroll up and park right next to the planetarium, or are you going to park a little bit of ways and kind of creep your way up there?
I'm assuming a planetarium would have like security, like surveillance
Probably.
coverage, so I'll probably park my car away from it.
Alright. So you guys park a few blocks away and begin walking towards the planetarium. And the walk down East Solitary Drive, as you begin your journey, is monitored by two perfectly symmetrical lines of trees guarding both sides of the road's edge. The path is divided neatly, and symmetrically, into two lanes by the perfectly manicured patches of grass that form an intermittent median in the road. These patches of grass themselves are flanked by perfectly arranged shrubs that force trespassers to commit some effort to trampling on the lawn. The flickering orange lights of the malfunctioning street lamps dotting the path only highlight the eerie symmetry of this place. The lights, however, do nothing to illuminate the vast abyss masquerading as Lake Michigan on either side of you. In the distance, that iconic black copper dome of the planetarium stands out against its hemispherical shielding of glass behind it. The moon and starlight filter through the beveled glass of the nickel bronze doors at the front, cloaking the facility in undulating silver light. At night, Adler Planetarium looks as much like a sinister fortress as it does a conspicuous UFO parked just off Chicago shore. That is what you are currently seeing and experiencing as you walk down the drive towards the planetarium.
Odd place to meet up.
Yeah, it is, but it came from a terminal in here, so I don't pick the spots, I just show up.
Just as we're about to like head in the premises, I put on my flu mask.
Okay. Hermes, roll me 5
Flush.
dice, please.
Alright.
And let me know how many successes you get.
One, two, three.
3. Alright. No.
Also, I want to do what's right.
Okay, roll me a willpower check. So you got 3 successes?
Yeah.
Alright, so as you are kind of scouting out the area and observing this phenomenon before you as your group approaches, you realize that shimmering effect at the front entrance, while it is awe-inspiring, it is not magical. In fact, this building must have been deliberately constructed to create that effect through its architecture.
I think I might have been here once or twice.
Probably, but I mean, it's much different late at night. You never come when it's closed. During the day, you remember from your waking life, however, that coming near the front on a sunny day makes like a rainbow emanate from the front door out onto the walkway.
Huh.
So some very...
Looks a bit different at night, doesn't it?
Alright. So, approaching the planetarium, more foul symmetry catches your attention. there is a white concrete path forming a circle around the planetarium. That path is itself encircled by a symmetrical arrangement of shrubs on both sides. Even the trapezoidal parking lot that you can see off to the left of this area is demarcated by perfectly symmetrical lines of trees. And for you, Hermes, one thing is definitely clear. There's way too much symmetry happening here.
Is this... Did Premiere design this?
Are you asking me, or are you saying that out loud?
I'm saying that out loud.
Okay, so as you're walking in, you guys all hear Hermes say this.
Do I detect... Like, does that make sense? Because it's very symmetrical perfectionist.
Yeah, I mean, you might think it's related. You don't see anything with your 2 successes that indicates anything supernatural to you. But it's definitely, like, even the long road leading to the planetarium is replete with symmetry, and then more symmetry once you get here, so that's definitely sending red flags in your mind.
You might be dealing with, Tremere. I'm getting the sense that whoever designed this place has some serious perfectionism.
So one of your kind. Well, then maybe I'll let you do the talking as to why they would do something like this. Because I came here trying to resolve this peacefully. But let's be honest, I'm not the most peaceful kind of person.
I'll do my best, but sometimes I can be a little bit prickly, so...
Don't worry, I'll step in if I have to, and also maybe this money I brought would help them. If it comes down to it. If not, well, it is what it is and we'll move forward.
Yep.
And another thing,
And
Hermes...
Ryder...
Oh, go ahead.
I'll say, Ryder, if this turns into something like 2 years ago, got my back, right?
Well, we'll have to see what happens, I suppose. It depends, but yes, I'll try.
Okay, if things get shaky, I'll go in first and you all just back me up.
And Hermes, one other thing, like, it's not just perfectionism that you see here, but you also know that your clan is also known as the Hermetics, so lines and geographic shapes are very important to your
yeah.
activities. What were you going to say, Garrett?
I do want to keep you all in mind, if we do get into a conflict, I am not suited for a fist-to-fist combat. That is not my skill and forte.
Well, do you still have that gun I gave you? Or you took from me, I should say?
I thought you took that back.
No, you would not let go of it. I thought you were going to shoot me. I let you have it.
I don't remember. It's been a while. Do I still have that gun?
You don't.
Okay. I
I don't
don't.
suppose any of you brought a gun?
I'm always strapped. I pull out my Glock.
Oh, well, that's useful.
I have acid.
Alright, let me make a note. You pull out a Glock on a highly public parking lot area, likely with plenty of cameras. Got it.
Well, not like pull it out, but I just say yes, and I kind of run my hand over my waistband. I was over-exaggerating. I'm not going to flip a Glock out in public.
Gotta be very careful about what you say.
Okay.
Well, I don't have much, but as we got out of the car, I'm gonna like open up the passenger side, is it called a drawer or something, like the fold-out compartment, and just grab a pepper spray.
Okay, so you did that before, because you guys are already at the planetarium now.
Oh, okay. So I probably did that before, and then I'll just say I don't have a proper weapon, but I've got pepper spray if that helps.
My acid would be better than that.
Once we're
Yeah,
out of view
well-
of cameras, I'll be like, okay, I actually really don't need this because I'm kind of a champion in my own right. Who wants it?
What? Your piece?
Yes.
Damn it. Fine. Do you even have a holster for it?
I look at him like, no, I don't.
Quick question, out of character, writer. So you did receive a text earlier tonight with Charlotte saying that there was important business for y'all to take care of. Would Ryder not have brought a gun with that kind of prompting?
Knowing the, he would assume when Charlotte says something to take care of, it would be something more social oriented and not violent.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. So in that case, you're saying he doesn't have a gun.
So I'm
Yeah,
like,
Ryder
okay.
didn't bring his own gun.
So Mike's like, well, you have pepper spray, you have acid, you have shadows. This is gonna go well. You know what? Actually, no, I look at Ryder. This is why you need to come prepared. I'm gonna teach you a lesson. You use that pepper spray. I'm gonna give the gun to Garrett once we're in an area where there shouldn't be any cameras.
We'll say you guys did all of this at the car, like in the back alley, before you walked down the
Oh,
path.
okay, yeah, that makes it easier.
But yeah, so for right now so you did that before you arrived, and now you're outside the planetarium.
Yeah,
And
so
you-
Garrett has my gun, and I'm like, you're gonna give this one back, right?
Of course.
Okay, perfect.
Now that we know about this whole lifestyle,
Yeah. Sorry you kind of got roped into that. That was unfortunate.
oh, I'm having the time of my life. Let's go.
All right.
Sorry, quick question. OC, who was passed the gun?
Mike has passed the gun to Garrett.
Okay.
Yeah. I looked at you and said, you need to learn from your mistakes. You're going to use that pepper spray and you're going to like it. You have a gun, bring your own next time.
I look at Garrett and I say, I don't want to be presuming, but do you know how to use one?
You remember he was in the military, right? Or am
Special
I the only one who
forces.
remembered his conversation?
Well, yeah, and just checking because you were quite malnourished for quite a few years, so.
But now he has the power of the Kindred. He's fine.
And as
Just
you say
because I
that,
was malnourished doesn't mean I can't still use my training.
Okay, don't get petty. We have a mission here, guys.
and as you guys are finishing that bit of conversation, contorting out of the undulating silver light near the front entrance is an average-sized but athletic male figure dressed in a fine black suit, white shirt, and a sleek black tie. He straightens his jacket and reaches up and adjusts the designer's sunglasses on his face while examining each of you, and says, "I see you've brought acquaintances, Mr. Kaiser. I must say, I would not have advised bringing an audience to witness your stupendous failures as a kindred, but to each their own, I suppose."
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. I assume you want something, so what do you want? Just spit it out.
He looks at the rest of you and says, "Did Mr. Kaiser inform you all that it will only be a matter of nights before the police begin scouring the city in search of him?"
I look at him. I look at
I go,
Mr. Kaiser.
that's news to me. I didn't even know that part.
That's because the cameras, the police already saw you. So it's possible that information already got out, even though he locked it down.
Yeah, I should have told Charlotte no.
Indeed.
All right.
Oh, please continue.
Oh no, I'm just saying all right. Now I'm trying to figure out how to fix this. But you have something to say, so go on.
You see that this person seems to be kind of relishing in the fact that now you're aware of how serious the situation was. He places his hands on his chest in sort of a almost theatrical display, and he says, "No, truly, I confess that I see no reason for the police not to suspect Mr. Kaiser of the crimes committed at the apartment complex a few nights ago. After all, it is quite peculiar that he was able to not only infiltrate the crime scene during an active investigation, but also walk right past several uniformed officers. That will truly be a difficult factoid to explain away in interrogation." And now, the rest of you are being roped into it. Are you sure that's how you want to go down?
If it's to solve this case and also keep the Masquerade, sure.
I look at Mike and I say, so you conveniently left out the fact that you barged into the crime scene loud and obnoxiously.
In my
Instead of
defense,
just-
I was very quiet. I didn't see the apparent cameras that were all over the dorm.
Dorm, of course there are cameras.
I wasn't really one for the college life. I lived in questionable areas at best. I didn't know that was a thing people did. Look, guys,
I'm telling you this now. However this goes down, you already owe me a big one for
That's
dragging
fair.
me into this mess.
That's
Like,
fair. I should have not let you off as easy when I saved your life. But yeah,
like
no,
I-
it's fair. I do owe you a big one.
Like I said, allies.
Yes, allies.
Be that as it may, what now? I look to the figure.
As was I look at the man who thinks he has all the answers.
Tell me, what is... If someone were to look at you, what might be their impression of the looks on your faces right now?
Mike looks indifferent, and he's had enough of this shit, and he knows he should have never helped Charlotte. He just looks like he's done with everything.
Garrett just happy-go-lucky.
Scruffy, bored, annoyed college student.
From my eyes, because of my flu mask, I would look annoyed, eyes darting around, most likely looking for possible escapes.
Okay. Seeing you looking around, eyeing the situation, the figure says, No, you all misunderstand me. I'm not here to punish you, nor do I desire to sell your flagrant masquerade violation to one of the city's inimical hounds. Rather, I present you with this evidence and alert you to this quandary to show you that you are in grave danger without my services.
And what might your services be exactly?
The figure seems very happy that you asked that question. Once again, with a very sort of dramatic flourish, puffs out his chest a little bit, places his hands over his tie and on his shirt, and says, "You see, I am a very wealthy man, Mr. Kaiser, and I have extensive connections among those mortals who believe themselves to be powerful. So, think me not some nefarious villain scheming to crush you under his boot. I would rather prefer if you thought of my proposition here tonight as a sponsorship."
I'm listening.
With my services and my sponsorship, I could make this unfortunate debacle. And at this point, he reaches into his jacket and pulls out some sort of case that holds a disc. And he says, "Disappear. And, so long as you kept me apprised of your activities, I could ensure that other minor masquerade breaches go undiscovered as well."
Question. What's your position among the Camarilla?
I am with him, if that's what you mean.
Insight.
Sure.
Mike
go
has
for
no
it.
reason not to believe him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, generally, don't really roll insight too much in these situations because you assume everyone's lying to you about something. But
Fair enough.
what did you roll?
I didn't roll yet.
Okay, so yeah, it's up to you. What do you think? Did you believe him or not?
Skeptical, but I'll believe him right now.
Okay.
So, this sponsorship, you simply just want to know what we're up to?
Yes, if there's anything that needs to be taken care of to save us all a lot of headaches and trouble.
And besides getting rid of this problem that's going on right now, what's in it for us?
I already told you what's in it for you.
This goes away, and he was willing to solve any minor Masquerade breaches that might go for future endeavors, but they have to be minor. Were you not paying attention?
And I'm also very well connected.
So would I be correct in assuming you specialize in, to put it bluntly, cover-ups?
For you all, sure.
Well, I'm really in no position to refuse this, because I could use your help. I can't speak on their behalf, but I'm in.
Is this proposition binding until final death?
It's an arrangement that we agree to. It's a sponsorship, like I said. If you do things that violate the spirit of our agreement, then of course I have the right to terminate our sponsorship. And any and all predicaments you might find yourself in would then be yours to take care of. As well as any connections that I may have opened the path to for you.
And does that cut both ways? Could we end it ourselves?
And
If
why
need
would
be.
you want to do that? You are all exceptionally great at taking care of your problems currently. And you see there's a sarcastic smile on his face.
Fair enough. But who knows what we'll find out later about you.
Who knows what I might find out about you all? Maybe you're more hassle than you're worth.
I say we all benefit from this.
See, Garrett
Fair
has
enough
the
for
right
now.
idea. I look at Ryder. I know you're probably gonna say no, and I won't blame you.
Hearing that, he turns his attention to you, since you're the only one who hasn't spoken yet, Ryder, in terms of your stance on the sponsorship.
Okay, I know what the price he's going to pay. What's the price that I'm going to pay for this?
He chuckles. My price is rather small, considering the enormity of the favors I would be performing for you, truly.
So, what's my price?
He just wants to know what we're doing, am I correct?
A dark smile flashes across his face as he says, I, and I alone, receive the credit for any worthwhile discoveries you make during your investigation of this unfortunate masquerade breach at the campus of U Chicago.
So you want status?
So you want the credit for this specific case alone, and this credit only. Nothing else.
For now, yes.
Okay.
It is
Under
it's quite a generous offer, really.
That irks me, but that's fair enough.
Think of it this way. You're free to pursue your investigation with my sponsorship without fear of any masquerade breaches coming back to haunt you, and I, rightfully, receive the credit for protecting you.
Also, let's also factor in that we still solve the case.
At the end of the day, that is what's important.
He gets the credit, but that doesn't mean that all doors close. Many's still open for us. It's just not in the fashion that you would have thought.
Garrett does make a point there.
I think all parties can benefit from this. But
Okay,
who am I to judge? I've just been here for a couple of days.
I mean, I do see this as mutually beneficial.
I'll say this out loud just to make it perfectly clear that I don't get any hidden conditions. So, under the price that me and my associates here hand the credit to you once the specific case regarding the campus breach is done, that is the only price I have to pay for this sponsorship. And if that is the case, I say yes.
To be more precise, once the murders of those 3 students at U Chicago, as well as the Masquerade violation resulting from it, have been thoroughly investigated and resolved, you inform me and me alone of that, and then I get the credit for that. And along the way, I will make sure that your Masquerade violations do not come back to haunt you. And in the future, if you prove to not be a colossal waste of time and more trouble than you're worth, we can talk about future sponsorship as well.
With the same price, I imagine.
Likely a different price then. Different prices for different terms.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Something else.
Although, one thing. You said 3 murders. Does that mean that the 3rd roommate was found? Or are you just assuming that she was murdered?
Once again, he smiles darkly. Oh, don't mind me, that was misspeaking on my part. I simply assumed, given what evidence there was, that they were all 3 spectacularly murdered.
Also, quick question. If anyone asks, are we allowed to say we're cooperating with you for this case?
What specific scenario do you have in mind, Mr. Ryder?
Say someone else is interested in the answers to this mystery, and they ask us also to investigate, but we have to decline because we're working for someone else on it already.
Why, of course. If you don't solve the case and get the credit, then if you don't solve the case, then you're no use to me.
I think what he's getting at is I believe Critias has a personal interest in this case and is looking for information from one of us. If memory serves properly, what are we to tell Master Critias if we figure it out?
You do not say anything to anyone until it has first crossed paths with me, and I will instruct you how to handle it from there.
Pretty much what he is asking is simply to inform him first and nobody else. So Criticus would have to wait until he gets the information.
Makes sense to me. And
Meaning this arrangement would be secret.
Precisely.
I see nothing wrong with this, because obviously I do have to applaud your skill, at least when it comes to networking, security, and all that stuff. So I think you'll be a good aid to us more naive Kindred.
About that, I made sure your little friend won't be a problem anymore.
What do you mean by that?
I'm sure you'll hear soon enough.
Will it come back to me?
No, of course not.
Then I really don't care. He was just a tool.
Then if I'm understanding you all correctly, we have a deal.
Deal.
I'm in.
He nods at Hermes and Mike, and then looks at Garrett.
I'm in.
He looks at you, Ryder.
If it's just for the credit to you, sure, deal.
Well, and of course, if you think that there's been a Masquerade violation, I can't exactly cover it up if I don't know about it, right?
If it's a Masquerade violation, I think it's all of our responsibilities to try to cover it up.
Yes, but you all aren't particularly
Well,
blessed
we can
with
do that indirectly by
finesse
informing
in
you.
that department.
Mike just thinks back to 2 years ago. That
Well,
went fine.
Our efforts to cover a Masquerade would involve contacting you about it, and, well, I suppose you do your thing.
Very
Yes,
well.
how would we contact you?
He looks at you all, and then he looks at Mike, Mr. Kaiser. Mike, you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he looked at you and just kind of nodded and said, Mr. Kaiser.
Sorry, I'm getting a phone call.
You all judge by that expression that basically, if you want to know how to contact him, talk to Mike.
Duly noted.
He smiles, puts the disc back in his pocket, in his jacket pocket, inside his chest. Sorry, that was a weird description. He puts the disc back inside his jacket pocket. And he says, "Good. I'm glad you could all see reason and we didn't have to settle this through alternative arbitration."
Sorry about that, I'm back.
Okay. So pretty much when they asked how to contact you, he looked at you and was like, ask that guy. In other words, if they want to contact him, they can ask you and you know how to contact him.
Oh, Mike's like, he stinks for a second. You see, like, the gears are turning, and he's like, huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got it.
Good. He looks at you, Garrett, and he says, "See, not everything has to result into blood and claws and fangs. We Kindred can be quite civil when we are open to seeing reason, as your friends here have demonstrated."
Of course, that's just the front.
One
We just don't
thing,
talk about
though,
the behind the
sir.
scenes.
I don't think we got your name.
Well, let's just say, you know what I look like now.
That's a
Oh,
weird name, but I don't mean to judge.
Wait, out of curiosity, does he look like anybody at the high-ranking, at the Elysium? From the night we all met all the higher-ups?
Question.
Does he look like anybody that was there?
He does
Because
not.
Mike saw a lot of people.
He did, and he does not look like any of those.
OOC, what does his face and hair look like again?
It's very average, like I said. He has an average but athletic build, and he's very well dressed, wearing designer shades.
So he's got Jade's, like, skin tone, hairstyle.
He has no hair. His skin tone is
Oh.
darker. And it's at this moment that a spectacular peregrine falcon lands on the ledge above the planetarium's doorframe. It looks around, noting each of you. By all appearances, except its purple and green helmet, its pearly white beak, and sea green eyes, it's a typical, albeit large, adult falcon.
That's cool.
Nice bird.
The figure turns, not sure what you're talking about, and lets out a malevolent chuckle and says, "Well, we had better conclude our business.
Let's. And I begin walking back
Very well,
to the car.
sir. And I start walking back as well.
As you start walking away, the figure says, "Hey, hold on. Why don't you let me give you a little assistance?" And he points towards the parking lot.
Oh?
Yes, over there, please.
Okay. I move over there.
Yeah, Mike's like, oh, whatever, okay.
As you guys start to walk away, the large falcon leaps off the ledge, and in midair, its shape rapidly expands and contorts into that of a lean young woman in her 20s. She has an undercut with green and purple highlights in her hair. She's wearing faded denim overalls over a black camisole, and as her tennis shoes hit the ground, the bones in her hands begin to pop and expand until she's armed with a set of 5 massive claws on each hand.
I give that a 9 out of 10.
As I see
landed.
that happening, I flinch, step back, and I say, "What the fuck?"
I don't even flinch.
Shifter. Would I recognize this as a gangrel?
It is likely, or at least someone with protein. The figure turns around. Actually, at this moment, Hermes, your sense the unseen picks up something in your periphery.
I look towards it.
You look towards it, and you see, by the perfect line of trees by the parking lot, there's someone that appears there. Someone you didn't notice when you were first walking down the area and scanning it. It's a figure with purple skin, wearing a fancy white suit and a golden tie. They are completely bald. They have deep, sunken yellow eyes. When they open their mouth, it's like horrific rows of teeth, almost like a lamprey. And he walks towards you all. And looking at the figure behind you, he's like, "Hey, Bree. I was just finishing my rounds with your planetarium here. We'll be on our way." The figure who just transformed and has 5 claws out gazes hard at all of you and says, "More poachers?"
No. Trying to get rid of the poachers.
She looks over at the purple-skinned figure who just appeared, and he says, No. Like I said, I just finished with your planetarium and getting these people off your property. I'll take care of them." She looks over at you, Hermes.
I look at her.
She's still in her squat position. And she says, "You know something about the poaching?"
Unfortunately, not more than what most people know.
What do most people know?
Well, my theory was either a werewolf or a gangrel.
What are you talking about?
Are we now talking about the same poaching?
Good to know. Thank you for your information, she says as she stands up, looks once more to Turbo. He gives a gesture that seems to vouch for you all, and shink, the claws retract into her knuckles. She says, well, lucky for you all, it seems like Turbo here says you're okay people.
I give a
Oh.
bow.
So the guy
wait a
who
minute,
just
Turbo! Oh, I remember you.
What were you saying, Mike?
The guy who just gestured us to walk into the parking lot, is he still here?
He's still there, yeah. He has now walked kind of and stood dutifully behind this purple-skinned figure.
Does he seem deferential to her, like she's in charge here? Or is he just standing there?
The guy that you talked to?
Yeah.
The guy that you talked to is just standing behind the purple-skinned figure, as if on standby.
Is that the Nosferatu?
I believe that Garrett and Ryder and Charlotte met the purple-skinned individual at Elysium a few nights ago, yes. Garrett, do you recall that seeing this figure was terrifying, as your brain has yet to process all the monstrosities and horrors of the Kindred world?
Yeah, I don't think I saw him.
I don't think so. But
Yeah.
Garrett, you definitely recognize seeing this figure before.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl was like, "You there?" And she's pointing at you, Hermes.
Yes?
I'll forgive your offense just now, on one condition.
I'll ask first, what offense?
You alleged that you had information on poaching, only to tell me that you knew absolutely nothing of value.
Like, hard to see that that's an offense.
She glares at you and raises an eyebrow like, you want to say that again?
I back up from Hermes, distancing myself from this scenario that is going down.
Alright, fine, I apologize. What condition, then?
You formally introduced me to both DeSable and that Erichtho bitch in the near future.
Huh.
Do we have a deal?
Alright, then. Not sure about the Erichtho figure. Don't know much about her.
I'm sure you can figure it out.
I mean, besides that her name is from Greek myth.
Yeah, I don't care. I want to meet the person, not the myth.
Might be the same thing, given our world.
Sure. But you'll do it?
Fine, then.
Then it's settled. And one more thing, and now she casts her glance at all of you. If I see you lot around here again, we're gonna have ourselves a violent lesson in the second tradition. Do I make myself clear?
So, Mike's going to agree, but does he have any idea what she's talking about?
Make an intelligence plus politics roll, and anyone else who would like to see if
Yeah.
they understand, make that roll. Actually, no, don't everyone make the roll. Do you have any dots in politics, Hermes?
I do.
Does anyone else have any dots in politics and cares to think
Nope.
about it?
I only have dots in intelligence.
Okay, so in that case, Hermes, make the roll.
Alright. Politics plus intelligence?
Yep, and you don't get any bonuses because no one has dots in politics.
Does she look like
3 successes.
Does she look like she's not expecting us to speak up? Like, is she intimidating enough that she would be pissed if we spoke up without her permission?
I mean, based upon what you saw, your first time seeing it probably, I'd say it was kind of intimidating, but that's up to you. But she did also ask a question. So, Hermes and Mike, pretty much everyone except for Ryder and Garrett, because they know nothing about these types of things. You imagine that either this is her personal domain, or perhaps, since she was asking about poaching specifically, maybe this particular area is the entire domain of the gangrel. In other words,
We're trespassing.
yes.
So...
But she did ask a very pointed question. She does not seem like she's interested in entertaining more conversation than just what she asked you.
I'm going to give a glance to the figure that we're sponsored by now.
Neither him nor the figure that you've talked to this entire time make any gestures or motions.
Alright, gang. Looks like we've been trespassing here this entire time. Let's go.
Well, it would be rude to not answer the question. Of course we would never do this again willingly. I apologize.
I apologize as well. And I bow my head down a little bit.
I don't bow, I just apologize.
Yeah, as you do that, Hermes, she says, and consider that the other offense that I'm charging for this favor.
Fair enough.
So do you all follow Turbo and the other figure that you've been talking to this whole time that you thought was the person behind everything?
Yep.
I see no reason not to.
Alright, so you all walk over to the parking lot. And as you do, you look up towards the tree line and you see that there are hundreds upon hundreds of falcons lining the branches. The peregrine falcons, all monitoring your every move. Intently.
Do they seem like regular birds, or do they seem like more shape-shifting kindred?
Hard to tell. However, given that you just saw this giant falcon turn into a kindred, either they're more gangrel or they're this gangrel's flock.
We're very outnumbered either way. We just follow and leave.
Okay, so
Mike, did you know this was someone else's turf?
I didn't know when I worked with our new sponsor. I just
Did
came
you
to where I
know?
was summoned.
you all hop into the back of Turbo's fancy limo, sleek limo, and
Did
he
the
slides.
sponsor answer?
Yeah, he slides in beside you all and smiles, revealing his sickening, circular lamprey-like mouth. And he says, "You know," very wryly, "if you're worried about being on her bad side, I know how to help with that. I could think of a few ways."
Oh.
Well, she already told you in your little snafu earlier, but the gangrel suspect that there's been a poacher in their domain the last few nights, but they haven't had any luck in capturing the bastard. Now, if their noses, eyes, and furry inclinations can't catch 'em, you know they're pretty elusive prey.
This is true.
And you all are a bunch of nobodies, so helping out these gangrel means you have the opportunity to parlay with them in the future.
Are we in a car right now, or?
You're in the back of his limo, yeah, and the dark figure that you were talking, the dark-skinned figure you were talking to earlier, is in the front seat driving, and he's now pulling back onto the drive, solitary drive.
Problem with that is, in order to help them, we'd have to trespass again.
Not necessarily. I said I'd help you out, didn't I?
Thank you for bringing up this opportunity, but we sort of have a task to do tonight.
If I may, can you inform her that I will be interested in looking into this and helping her out?
Just you? Nobody else?
Oh, I'm
If-
also willing to help.
Yeah.
If the others are willing, sure. But if they are not, I will most likely help them.
I'll rather not decide on this opportunity for now. I prefer to work on one thing at a time.
That is fair.
That's actually a smart idea.
Oh, come on, don't be so suspicious. We've brokered an alliance. I'm here to assist you.
Hang on. We brokered an alliance on someone else's turf.
We still brokered an alliance. And what if I told you that one could help the other? In other words, solving this might help you solve our initial proposition.
I'll be honest, I see
Well-
no point to say no. I'm in.
Actually, you do have a point there. It's likely a gangrel that committed the poaching at the university. So,
Okay,
we could
can
get clues there then.
You guys might not know it, but we're sort of kind of urgent on a potential next clue on who's doing the massacres. I caught wind that there's another abduction happening just a couple of hours earlier near a Lake Meadows condo.
Wait, there was another
Oh,
abduction?
shit.
You notice that
So,
Turbo.
yeah.
You notice that Turbo smiles very widely as you say that.
So yeah, pardon us if I'm seemingly very anxious and about this urgency.
No, that's fair.
Well, if they are related, Turbo, I'm willing to help solve this situation.
As am I.
Yes.
But we will be following the more concrete leads we have, which at the point is this current abduction.
To be so young and naive. You're jumping to so many conclusions without bothering to assess the information that I could provide you. So.
Well, I said I'm in. I'm just
Oh, I know.
waiting to see what you want.
What do I want? I'm helping you here. Not only are you advancing the investigation, but you're also possibly forming an in with the gangrel that you didn't have before.
Wait, Mike pauses, trying to process. Is the man who brokered the partnership working for Turbo?
Do you ask him that?
Yeah, Mike's just talking out loud. Wait, does he work for Turbo? Is this our sponsor?
I am your sponsor, yes. I had my associate here negotiate on my behalf. I was curious how you all would respond.
Oh.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you see if you could see a light bulb pop above Mike's head, it just all clicks. He's like, oh.
So just to be clear, does the credit go to him or go to you?
Oh, don't be daft. It was me. He pulls out from his ear a wire, you can see an earpiece, and he kind of dangles it in front of you all. It was me talking the whole time. He was saying what I wanted him to.
Okay,
Makes sense.
just wanted to be sure.
Alright,
Well, the technical skills make more sense now.
Yep. No Splintering technical skills.
Oh, and at this time, Mike, you get a phone call from, as you look at it, it's from your associate.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
I answer.
As soon as you answer, you hear yelling on the other side. Mike, what's going on, man? I thought you said this was no big deal. This was some small person.
Mike goes, what are you talking about?
What am I talking about? My entire rig is ruined, man. All of it. You know how much this cost me? How much time this took?
You're assuming that it's what I had you work on? I don't see a correlation here.
Of course it is. I wouldn't be calling you if it wasn't. Look, I traced that thing for you, gave you that information. The next thing I know...
casually put the phone on speaker without letting him know I do it.
And he says, and the next thing I know, that same place is hacking into my system and has just completely blown my rig. What are you going to do about this? This was a job for you. You need to fix it. You look over at Turbo and he said, I told you your friend was taken care of.
I take it off speaker. Yeah, I'll figure something out.
You better. All the kind of systems I have to have in order to do what I do, that's a lot of money, man. You better not leave me out to dry.
Uh-huh.
I'm not kidding, Mike. You know that I have some... What I do is not exactly on the up and up. I know some pretty shady characters. You catch my drift.
So Mike says, okay, let me think about it. He mutes his phone. He looks at Turbo. I honestly thought you were going to eliminate him, not destroy his computer. Now I have a A bitchy mortal on the phone.
Oh,
He shrugs and is
if
like, that's the risk you take with mortal assistance.
Well, I call him like, we'll have to meet in person later, but yeah, I got something. I'll take care of you. Don't worry.
Good. Don't
I
keep
hang
me
up
waiting.
on him.
Yeah, he
I won't.
cuts off as you say that.
I look at him. So, I'm just gonna throw this out here because I don't really know how all this stuff works. It's obvious whoever you have employed is way better than that mortal. And he might seem to be a quote-unquote nuisance for you guys. So, what if I make sure he never touches a computer ever again, and as a sign of appreciation, I buy whoever your super sleuth is a new computer?
Were you not listening to my associate earlier, Mr. Kaiser? I'm a very wealthy man. I do not need your pitiful dollars. Also, who I have employed? Bold of you to assume it wasn't me.
Nosferatu are famous for their networking skills.
He looks and says, but he said it was just happening. I don't see a computer with you.
It was a program that I planted in his computer that took some time to work, but would definitely be impossible for him to have removed it in time.
Oh, that's
Impressive.
fair to see. Said I'm not smart with all this technology stuff. Please forgive my ignorance. I was just trying to show my gratitude, I guess.
Sure. You know, it was rather impressive that your friend was even able to hack into my system, so... Turnabout's fair play, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I guess I have to go buy him a new rig.
I
Anyway.
can help figure out what you should buy. I got a little bit of tech skills myself.
I look at Turbo. I would defer to this man what I need to replace his gear with.
Oh, I'm
If
sure
he's willing.
Sure your associate will tell you what he needs, and hopefully he's learned his lesson. At this point, the limo pulls off of a solitary drive and is now driving away. Turbo says, but anyway, back to the connection I mentioned earlier. As Ryder pointed out, there have been a number of abductions happening lately between East 31st Street and East 33rd Plaza. Along that stretch of streets, there are plenty of closed-down businesses and even a church.
Is this area Gangrel territory?
No, it is a no man's land. But the area in question is also very close to the beach that the Gangrel control, and has easy access to the major roads leading to and from that beach. So I would wager that if there is indeed a poacher here, that would be the best place to begin looking. And as you mentioned, there have also been some curious abductions happening within that area over the past few nights. Connection, coincidence? I think not.
Have there been abductions happening in Gangrel turf?
No, they just said there's been some poaching.
Sorry, I'm very out of the loop. Can someone explain what poaching is to me? And is this code for, like, Kindred operations, or...
No, it means you took food that belonged to them. The mortals on their territory
Oh.
are theirs to feed upon how they wish, and someone has been taking them away.
Oh, so it's... Oh, okay. So it's the original meaning of poaching. Got it.
Quite literally, yes. So anyway, I would say that that's our best place to start looking, and perhaps it's even connected to our original case.
Makes
And
sense to me.
if my theory's correct, and these two events are all connected, do you know what that means?
Two birds, one stone.
Well, that's what I was suggesting earlier, but it means that someone out there is very, very hungry to be abducting people from their territories as well as within the surrounding area.
Could be someone that doesn't know the Masquerade, or someone crazy enough to challenge it.
Indeed. So, what do you say? Shall we go look into it?
Oh, see, would I know that Lake Meadows condo is in the area that he suggested us to look into?
I am assuming you would have looked it up, and yes, it is.
Okay.
He knocks on the black plexiglass window, or whatever glass limousine windows are made out of, and he's like, "Hey, Mordecai, go ahead and take us there. Seems like our friends our sponsees are interested in it as well." He says, "Roger, boss." Begins going off in that direction. It's only about a 3 to 5 minute drive, and you guys are dropped off in a small parking lot near basketball courts, a playground, and a small sports park. The slithering streets before you coil around various charity organizations, a media company, a church, and on the far end, you can see a condo building and a dry cleaner. No matter where you look, though, the streets are poised like vipers, waiting to strike at you the moment you reveal your monstrous nature. You become painfully aware that these few blocks that you are investigating are not a safe space for your kind. You will need to be exceptionally careful here to avoid violating the Masquerade.
Oh god, I just remembered. Did I park my car in Gangrel territory?
Yeah, how are you gonna get it back?
Oh fuck. And it's too late for me to get dropped off now.
So you all exit the limousine, and Turbo says, "We'll be nearby. Keep me apprised, will you?" He closes the door, and the limo drives off.
I just go up to Ryder. Sorry about your car. It's theirs now. Try not to laugh.
Damn it. At least I'll get it back after we give them a favor.
Now you have motivation to help them. Think about that, Camry.
Look, I'm sensitive about that car because I worked a boring night job for 5 months to save up for it, okay?
Oh, well, no, that's perfectly reasonable. I'm
Yeah.
just giving you a hard time. We'll get your car back, don't worry.
So you guys have been dropped off in a parking lot. I described what's near you. What's your plan?
I'm go aspects.
Okay, roll me 5 dice. Everybody else?
Are there any, I guess, crime scenes around here? Like, was it like just an abduction that was reported, and then are there any police cars parked around here?
There are not. It has happened over the past several nights, so you imagine the police did all their work during the day. But you'll recall that I did say that right now you're near basketball courts, a playground, and a sports park, but around you in the next couple blocks, you can see various charity organizations, a media company, a church, and then on the far end, even further than that, is a condo building and a dry cleaner.
And I got no successes with my aspects.
Yeah, so nothing seems out of the ordinary to you.
Is that condo the Lake Meadows?
There's one way to find out.
I'll head over there.
Okay, you walk around to the front of the building.
Gonna follow him.
It's a high-rise building, although it seems pretty plain for a condo building. But oh my god, it is indeed the Lake Meadows condo. You do see that like the front entrance is blocked off with police tape, the crime scene tape. Would you like to attempt to look around and see if you can find any clues?
First, I'll look for any active authorities that might still be investigating.
Yeah,
Just
like I
in
said, there's
case.
no one around at this time. of
Okay.
night.
So it's just a tape.
Yeah, you can tell that there's definitely been a police presence here at some time in the recent past.
So is the tape barring people from supposedly entering the condo?
Yes, it is over the front entrance. You do see that there is like a receptionist inside, and the receptionist looks pretty upset, but what are they gonna do? You do see a notice on the door, which you could read from your distance, and it basically just says, "For everyone's safety, please stay within your condos and don't leave the building. Have everything delivered to you if you can, as your area is seeing an increased likelihood of abductions." So basically, this place is supposed to be locked down, but there's no one except the people inside who are actively enforcing that.
Am I able to like access the news from my phone?
You have a burner phone, right?
Yeah, a burner phone, but I don't know if they can do that.
I mean, they could if you got ones that had data, but that also means that you could be tracked, and that's the whole point of you not taking anything smartphone related near any
see.
Kindred business. But yeah, between what Turbo told you and what you heard earlier on the news, this is definitely a hot zone over the past few nights.
Okay, nobody go to the front door because we'll immediately be suspicious if we do that. Any of you? I don't. Well, hold on. Let me get a list of what special magic stuff that all of you can do. Any other surprises that I don't know about, or any special things that could get us across without getting spotted?
Unfortunately, none for me. But once
Alright.
we actually see something, I might be able to do something.
Any one of you could do something like, I don't know, get the receptionist's attention and have him tell us stuff and then forget about it. I don't know. I'm just shotgunning for like supernatural stuff at this point.
Well, I'm really good at walking in and out of places without people even realizing I'm there per the other
Okay,
thing.
that will be useful. Honestly, I feel
well,
like
I look at the building, I'm like, this one's probably a lot fancier than the dorms, and we saw how that went.
when you go.
Yeah,
Oof.
but we do have a sponsor who will fix that, so...
Oh, see, keep in mind the description I gave you at the very beginning, that all of these buildings are very exposed to the streets, and as such you'll have to be very careful about what supernatural powers, if any, you use.
Well, so if I use Unseen Passage, from anybody's perspective, nothing different changes.
Correct.
So if I blend in, like on security camera footage, it just looks like I'm a normal person walking.
Correct.
I messed up by walking past cops.
And into the crime scene, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, your mistake was that it was very obvious that something was wrong because you were just walking past cops and into crime scenes.
Yeah.
So when you say you can turn not visible, then how the fuck did you get caught?
Okay, so I'm actually still there. Let's just say everyone's oblivious to the fact I'm actually there. But if there's cameras, I only show up on those types of things, or if I'm a little too loud.
So, like only on living things? And
Yes.
is that
the living are oblivious to my presence.
Neat.
I have a question then. Actually, I have a test. Do any of you still carry a phone? I know you're not supposed to have them, but
What kind of phone? Like, I have a burner on me. It doesn't have any, like, it can only make calls, that's about it.
Yeah,
mean,
me
what-
too.
And I destroy them
video?
every couple of days. Wait, can't take video? Is that what you said?
Yes.
I mean, it has a camera. It should be able to record. Okay, what do you want me to do?
I want to test a theory.
Sure, I hand him my phone.
Something. No. I want you to record me.
Okay. I record him.
Are you actively looking at the screen as you record him?
Yeah, I'm looking at it like
Don't-
I'm trying to make sure I get him in the
All right.
view.
It's
Don't do anything fancy here. We're in the middle of the street.
it's quite interesting what you see. I mean, the camera quality is pretty crappy given it's a burner phone, but while everything else around you is in the same resolution, every time you look at Garrett through the screen, it's like the phone is messing up. You even look over the screen and look straight at him. He looks perfectly fine. You look back down at the screen, and the area where he is, it's very glitchy. The phone's like almost unable to register him.
I motioned to Ryder, come look at this.
Okay, wow.
Fuck.
That's...
It was something
So
that
what is this?
Are you actively doing something right now?
You're like Mr. Terrific!
if you recall, I had a phone call, and it was all glitchy. I didn't think of it on the time, but I wanted to test it out again. I think cameras can't pick me up.
So
Oh.
what? Are you like some EMP shit or something?
I believe so.
Looking
Oh,
at
that's
the
actually
the
cool.
recording mic, there's definitely someone or something there as you're recording it, but it's like that particular area is all glitchy and messed up. Like it would be very conspicuous if he were to walk in on security cameras.
So they would know something's up.
Yeah, if they were to actually watch the video, or if someone was actively monitoring, they would be like, "Wow, that's really weird. What's going on?"
And if it's and a building like that would probably have active security.
Definitely.
So there's probably someone monitoring it. So the second they see that, they're gonna sound the alarm and they're gonna rush to get whatever's going on. Well, Garrett, it could be a good idea, but the second they see it, which they're probably gonna be monitoring, they're gonna investigate.
Unless... Actually, no, because he could be picked up. Shit.
Yeah, and another thing,
Yeah, like
perhaps we should get our sponsor friend to maybe scramble the cameras for a little bit.
nah,
Possible.
if there's a person live doing it, and they just had an abduction,
Fair enough.
they'd call the cops. So, the only thing I could think of is anyone here dressed to look like they could potentially live here?
You mean among your
I'm
children?
in
Out of us, yeah.
I'm in casual clothing with a hoodie.
Probably
Yeah.
Garrett, unfortunately, because Garrett's in a
Oh.
fancy suit.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you'd be the only one who could go in. If you could find a way to talk yourself past the front desk, it'd be you, but you break cameras, and
That's the troubling part is...
We
Kinda-
could look for the internal power station and just trip it.
That might even be worse.
Yeah, that
Sure,
would...
but it'll buy us time. Nobody
That
will
will-
spot
I
us.
mean,
Oh.
if you cut the power, I am really hard to see in the dark. But
Oh yeah, but they're gonna call the cops
Oh, right. Phone lines.
because that's...
landlines don't go down, and I'm sure they have them at the front desk.
Hermes, were you using Sense the Unseen or Heightened Senses? Heightened Senses.
Sense the unseen.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me 5 dice. And while he's doing that, you guys can continue your conversation.
Oh, that's much better. 4.
4 successes. You hear what sounds like a heavy slam, or maybe a dumpster falling over, a couple blocks over. not a couple blocks, that's a long way, but like a couple buildings over, like in an alleyway. It sounds like there's some commotion.
Guys, I'm sensing something that away. Sounds like something's being slammed onto the ground.
Forcefully?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go check it out. Because we don't have any ideas how to get
Let's
into
do
this
that.
building.
Because that sounds like something bestial would do. I'll follow
Let's go.
behind.
Then you hear, it sounds like something's breaking through windows. Another struggle before.
Okay, let's go.
Does he say that?
Okay, someone's not giving a fuck about the cameras. Let's move.
It's not coming from this building, it's coming from a couple buildings over.
A couple buildings over.
Yeah.
I'm running into the alley. Do I see anything?
You run into the alley. At this point, the window's already broken and there's already been a commotion. You do see that a dumpster, the lid has been like torn off, and you can see the remnants of a heavy padlock that was on it. And like the lid's also been torn off its hinges. It's a pretty heavy metal lid. You also see that the window looks like someone just jumped through it. The glass is all on the inside of the building and not on the outside.
How high is this place that was broken into?
Oh, it's on the ground floor.
Oh,
Oh, I
Let's
look
be
inside.
good Samaritans.
ain't going in yet because I ain't leaving my DNA. I look inside. Is the thing still in there?
You look inside. You see that there was a very that there was some sort of struggle, but it was very brief. And windows on the opposite side have been broken. Without some sort of light, that's all you can tell, as it's dark in there.
So they already went in, grabbed him, went out.
Seems that way.
Be like, you guys can check this out. I'm gonna see if I can catch up. I run back out and just try to follow the line.
Okay, so you run around the building. This opposite window you see is the opposite story of the other one. All the glass is on the outside as someone burst from within. You do see some very obvious marks of blood, and there is a slight sprinkling of blood trailing off in the distance.
I'm like, hurry up, and I follow the trail.
yep, I followed the trail.
Yeah, me too.
Alright, give me, somebody, a wits plus survival roll, and if anyone has dots in survival, you can help that person.
I have 1 dot in survival.
I have
no
2
dots.
survival.
Alright,
Nope, survival.
so Garrett, you make the roll and add 1 dice bonus to the roll. Wits and
Okay.
survival +1.
What's survival?
And what's curious to you, Mike, is this seems like a lot of commotion, but you haven't heard any screaming. Messy crits, alright.
He super succeeds.
Not super succeeds, he succeeds in a very messy way.
Oh, yeah, I just call it super succeeding because it makes it better.
Oh, gotcha. So, Garrett, as you're following this blood trail, you hearken back to an uncomfortable set of memories. You find yourself trying to resist those memories, but you lose yourself in them. And you just go on autopilot mode as you feel this other presence within you. It's kind of taking over and driving you from within. It's an uncomfortable feeling, but you're not quite sure what you're doing. You're just following this trail, crawling along the ground like a creepy figure from The Exorcist or something. You guys are all following him and probably concerned about what he's doing, but he's just like crawling along the side of the wall, jumping down, sniffing, and like I said, crawling like something out of The Exorcist. And he's moving very fast. You guys are all sprinting, trying to keep up, till eventually he comes to the church you all saw earlier. The doors have been kicked in, splintered. There's a pool of blood on the ground, and you get a very ominous vibe from within.
This is not good.
Any
There's a
signs
smell
of
of-
a kindred?
Yeah, do I sense anything?
I angrily run inside.
At this point, the messy crit's worn off. You're back in control of yourself.
Oh, okay.
Is the smell getting stronger and stronger?
I mean, there's a pool of blood right in this front door. Yeah. Nobody's at more than hunger 3, right?
No, we're all at 1.
Nope.
Okay, so by the way, Hermes, since the unseen doesn't tell you if there are kindred around, it tells you, like, it's not a vampire detector. So nothing alerts you within, but that doesn't mean that there could be something within. You obviously something did come in here because they broke down the doors and there's a bunch of blood, but nothing catches your attention.
So, does any of it look like it could be kindred blood, or does it just look like fresh mortal blood?
Would you like to taste the blood and find out?
Yeah, why not?
Blood is blood, so alright.
Yep.
You kneel down and
Hang on. I got a bit that can help with this. I have taste for blood.
taste for blood. What's that do?
The user dabs the blood on their tongue and makes a resolve plus blood source.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I know what it does. I was just making
Okay.
fun of the way you said that. Let's go ahead and roll.
I'm from Texas, shut up!
Yeehaw. Go ahead and roll that.
4 successes.
All right. And can you go ahead and hit display? What are the exact things it tells you? No, not rouse check, display.
Oh. Where's display? There it is. That's really confusing.
All right. This blood here, it is definitely mortal blood. It is not kindred, so you do not get any indications of anything supernatural with the pool of blood you sense here. However, there is a resonance here. You imagine it would probably be because of how or what the person is experiencing, but it's a resonance of acute fear.
It's immortal in danger. Let's get in there.
I'm gonna ready my pepper spray in one hand.
Well done.
Okay. So what's everyone's plan? Are you barging in here? What are you doing?
The door was broken in, right?
Oh yeah, it's a double wooden door, and it looks like it's been kicked through the center, and it's just kind of all collapsed.
I'm following the trail because we gotta move quickly, but if I don't see a kindred within like the first 15 seconds, I'm dipping.
Are there any splinters that might be used as a weapon?
None
Wooden-
that big. There are plenty of splinters, but none that big.
Okay. Not even one as big as a, I don't know, I guess, steak?
That's really big, man. No, there's none that big.
Okay.
If you're gonna use your pepper spray, you're gonna like it. You're gonna learn your actions have consequences.
Well, let's go in.
So Hermes, Garrett, what are you doing?
I'm going in.
Yeah. Probably trailing a little bit behind because I'm not super combat ready. That's what might be a gang roll.
Okay.
And as I go in, I have an idea of what or who could be in there. I focus on my sight. And
I'm gonna.
Alright, so Garrett, go ahead and roll me your unspent willpower, please. So underneath willpower, there should be something that just says willpower. Not the reroll, just willpower. To be specific, Hermes, it was a... it was a choleric resonance, I believe. Let me double check.
I think that makes sense.
Sorry, it was a melancholic resonance.
Melancholy, right? That
2 successes. Alright, so as you try this, there's something inside you that's constantly urging you to cover your eyes in shadows, and you're not sure why. But in this tense situation, so you're not sure what to do, finally, you feel that urge release. So you watch. Anyone who happens to glance back at Garrett notices his eyes go completely black, as if shadows themselves cloaked or covered his eyes.
I say you're doing something, and I go back to getting ready to possibly get into a fight.
Can I try to see if I can hear any kind of breathing or struggling inside?
Sure. As you listen carefully, go ahead and roll wits and awareness. Does yours require a roll, Garrett?
For
your shadow eyes or whatever it's called, shadow sight?
they do not.
Okay. Pretty much all it does, if I remember correctly, is if there's a ghost there, you're like, oh, ghost.
And it allows me to see in the dark.
Okay, so you can see perfectly in the dark now, as if it were normal, as if, like, the lights were on in this building, that's how well you can see. Ryder, as you kind of get everyone to hush for a second as you begin creeping along, you do hear sounds, but it's not on this floor. You hear some thuds coming from below the ground.
Like from beneath us?
Correct.
I wave a hand at the rest of the coterie, and then I point down, and then I mouth below.
Basement?
The basement of a church. Hell nah.
You're the only one who can see that there is a trail of blood leading from this door down around to the left before it goes out of sight. Did you get that, Garrett?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know if there was anything else. I begin following the trail.
Alright, so you all watch as Garrett just takes the lead and begins walking.
I'll follow after him.
Do our eyes manage to adjust even a little bit to this level of darkness?
I mean, they're human eyes, and there's once you get into the building proper, there's very little light in here. So it's like being in a dark building with no light.
Okay, we can't even see shapes then.
Not really. Imagine like being in your room at night with the windows blocked up and no lights on, trying to navigate that. Like you can kind of feel general. You also feel like a liquid underneath your feet as you're walking down the center aisle following Garrett.
I'm gonna use my burner phone as a small light. Probably not that great.
It's very faint, but anyway, to cut matters short, you follow Garrett, you wind around to the left, so you see that these heavy wooden pews, are mostly undisturbed. There's a pulpit with a depiction of the cross on there, and a golden communion plate on an altar in the front. There are instruments on the platform. It's a very familiar sight to you, Garrett. None of this has been disturbed. Sorry, an alert just went off and I got scared for a second. None of this has been disturbed. Like, the only disturbance is the fact the door was kicked in and there's blood all the way here. You turn to the left, however, and you see like shavings along the right side of the wall, like something has been trying to gather purchase, and it's clawed its way here, but it's being dragged as there's scratches and scars along the wooden paneling on the lower half of this wall. And the carpet, Garrett, is like a sort of red shaggy carpet. And you see that there is a heavy white wooden door to the right. That door has been closed, surprisingly, but the blood leads to that door. And now you can all hear, as you get towards that door, screaming, and not screaming, but like grunts and thrashing.
I prepare myself to quick draw my gun.
Okay.
And as I begin walking towards the door, is it locked or
You push on the door. Or sorry, you twist the door handle. It is indeed locked. Or if it's not locked, there's something blocking it.
I tap on Mike and I whisper, kick it down.
Okay.
Do you have potence, Mike? I believe you do, because you have lethal body.
Where is that again?
That's
I
your
do have lethal
disciplines.
body.
Yeah, it's your disciplines. You have 1 dot of potence, right?
Yeah, 1 dot in potence. I have lethal body, yeah.
Alright, so make a strength plus athletics roll to break down this door.
And because
If it isn't
I-
cool enough, I might have to say I Kool-Aid Man through it just to keep on brand.
I can see, I'm just radiant quick draw onto any hostile.
That's very unfortunate.
2 successes.
willpower.
That's all you need.
Okay.
It's a heavier door, but with enough force, especially since you're pretty muscular, even for a mortal. Bust down the door, take a couple kicks. Boof, boof. The lock breaks. Tear the door off. The lock out of the door frame thing. And you see it descends into a stairway, a rickety stairway of darkness, but the sounds are more evident for a few seconds before they subside.
I'm quickly.
I mean, I'm like, before I run down, I'm like, I can't see, but if I can grab something, I'm just gonna grapple and hold on.
Okay. So Mike starts sprinting down the stairs, is what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm like, follow
sprinting
me. I'm just gonna grapple. I'm fighting blind here, but I'm still pretty powerful.
I take out my phone and then I turn on the flash and make it do like a flashlight.
All right. So who's going down
Yeah.
after Mike? Pretty much give me who. Since this is a narrow space, who's going down when?
I'm going next.
Yeah, Garrett's behind me. I'm going first.
And
Then-
I'm shining from the back so that they all can see.
All right. So Ryder and
Yeah.
Hermes in the very back.
Yeah, Ryder's our light
Mhm.
source. Hermes
All
is
right.
our support.
So you sprint down the way. It's very rickety. It's very narrow too. So if you mean sprint in the literal sense, I'm gonna need you to make a dexterity plus dexterity roll. This would be a little bit difficult to like full dead sprint down.
Wait, dexterity plus dexterity?
Yes.
Uh,
All right. Well, it's not hard for you, Mike, with 5 successes. Fireman,
Yeah.
you're used to going up uncomfortable in narrow spaces, so this brings back those old memories as you sprint down. Garrett, you as well. It's a little bit more awkward for you, but kind of reminds you of the steps on the submarine ladders, as you're able to sprint down no problem. Sprint down as you two round the corner, and Hermes and Ryder are slowly creeping down. The smell of blood becomes overwhelming, and you hear a shriek from within. And that's when, Mike, something grabs at you. I need you to roll Strength and Brawl.
Is this kind of like to grapple?
This is to avoid being assaulted.
Okay. I was only asking because of grapple expertise. Or whatever, specialty, sorry.
Yeah, you're not grappling this person, you're avoiding getting manhandled.
Okay, I'm
by them.
avoiding a grapple. That's why I was asking. Okay. So, willpower reroll, how... Sorry, does that only reroll one dice, or...
You can reroll up to 3 black dice and... Yeah, up to 3 black dice.
And that's the cost of 1 willpower?
Correct.
I'm gonna willpower reroll that.
Alright. So 5 successes beats their 3. So, you hear... Well, these claws grab out at you, kind of tear at your shirt, but you're able to shake this force off. It staggers you back a little bit as the weight of this thing hits you, and you throw that thing on the ground, and it screeches once again, and it lunges towards you, Garrett.
This is where
Quick draw?
I quick
Right.
draw and fire.
So for this, roll Dex Firearms, and if you have a specialty in quick arm or in quick draw, do that.
I do. So this is firearm, composure, right?
Dex and Firearm,
Dex and firearm.
because you're
Okay.
trying to be quick about it.
And this is 2. I'm gonna willpower.
What do you mean 2?
I only need 2. All right, perfect.
No. You said it's only 2, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
For quick draw. Because I have the quick draw.
So it's just your Dex plus your Firearms, then you add 1 for if you have a specialty in quick draw.
Oh. I didn't know it was +1. I thought it was +2 because of the. Oh no, that was for stunning. Never mind.
Correct.
So take 1 off because I
Take
accidentally.
the last dice with it. Okay. 3 successes.
And can I willpower 3?
Well, you don't need to, as they only roll 2.
Gotcha.
So they lunge at you. You quickly pull out your gun, fire almost blindly. You have a 9mm, so that's +2 damage, a margin of 1, so they take 2 damage. And you now see that there's, as Garrett and Hermes, not Garrett, Hermes and Ryder now creep down the stairs and the light shines. You see an image of a Hispanic-looking woman, long black hair, her eyes are bloodshot, her fangs are sharp, and she just seems to be absolutely lost in the moment. And she's covered in blood. Hermes and Ryder, Hermes and Ryder, what are you doing?
We're
Is
still
she,
on
like-
the stairs, right?
Yeah, you've come around the bend though, and you're like behind Garrett.
Do we have space to maneuver around, or are we just blocked?
You're pretty much blocked right now.
Yeah. Well, just I'll move up whenever I can, but at the moment,
Yeah, same.
Okay?
If there's light now, right?
Yeah, and like I said, I described what she looks like.
Does Mike notice her on the off chance ever seen her before?
He has not, no.
Okay. Well, time to subdue. I want to kick her ass.
So what are you doing?
Um,
However, I would say you all recognize these signs. This is definitely a kindred in the throes of frenzy.
I'm just gonna run in and just. Okay. Knowing she's frenzy, I'm gonna try and subdue her, so I'm just gonna elbow her in the temple.
Alright, go ahead and roll strength and roll.
Can I like try to push aside whoever's blocking me?
Oh, well, I mean, it's Garrett with a gun right now, so...
Oh, better not touch him.
3 successes.
I'll spend willpower.
Oh, I haven't rolled yet, but you can spend 1 power if you want. 5
5.
successes. Well, they rolled 3 again, so you beat them by 2. And you're trying to basically incapacitate them.
Yeah, I'm not trying to kill him, I'm trying to incapacitate.
Alright. So you beat them by 2. So you do 2 damage to them. Alright. 1 damage to them, superficial. Alright, so you elbow this frenzied kindred in the head. She staggers backwards and just shrieks in bloody murder. And you can see like blood now just pouring out of her mouth. Like, however she just fed, it was not your traditional kind of feeding. Garrett?
I move in and let Mike handle the situation while I look for any survivors or
Alright.
any other threats.
And I should say, with the flashlight behind you, it is pretty blinding, as you have like that
Yeah, the
dark
double.
enabling sight plus the flashlight. So you have to kind of stagger forward to get out of that light before your senses kick in. So I'm going to say that you spend most of this turn kind of trying to adjust and get out of that light. But you make it halfway across the room. Hermes and Ryder? Yeah.
I'm gonna help us try and find survivors if I can.
Alright, so you're
Yeah,
chasing after Garrett.
I'm gonna walk further into the room and shine the light directly upwards, so there's like a dim light reflecting down on the entire room.
Okay. Alright, it's now her turn. You watch as some shadows from the darkened caverns of this underground, or this basement room, gather up near her. She goes to try to cover herself in them, but the light from the cell phone makes them a little hazy. The shadows a little hazy. She shrieks in frustration, and then just launches herself at you, Ryder. Sorry.
Can I attempt to contest this by spraying her in the face with my pepper spray?
Sure. Give me a Dex plus melee roll. Oof, that's a critical on her part.
If you go to torpor again, I swear.
That's 7 successes on her part. So you reach into your pocket, grabbing for the pepper spray, but
Wait,
she'd
shit,
already
oh, no,
lunged
I
on
can't.
you. You can't
I can't
possibly
use
beat
fleetness
that.
for this.
Yeah. She lunges at you and pure feral style tackles you to the ground and just begins scratching her fingernails across your face and neck and like biting into you. You take, let's see, so that was 4, 5, 6, 7 successes minus your 1. You take 3 superficial damage as she just kind of tears into you, and then you're up, Ryder.
Fuck it, I let go of the pepper spray and I elbow her in the face as hard as I can.
Strength and brawl. I will say -1 penalty since she's on top of you. Okay. So you go to
Can I reroll willpower?
Yes. And remember what we talked about last time? If you're going to spend willpower, spend it like when you see the roll. That way I don't have to constantly ask and it slows down play.
Okay, reroll.
You can reroll all 3 of those black dice. And make sure you are putting slashes through your willpower. Mike and Ryder.
Yeah, I have been.
Alright, so 2 successes. And she rolled 3, so you take 1 point of or no, she doesn't take any damage as you go to elbow her, and she catches it with her elbow, and looks like she's poised to strike at you again. Mike, you're probably the only one who could respond reasonably quickly to this.
I'm going to. I'm gonna try and grapple her, so I'm on top of her. I'm gonna flip her off of him and get on top of her and try to elbow the shit out of her.
Alright, strength and brawl, add your grapple.
Oh god, please don't smash me too.
No,
Ooh.
I'm grabbing her with one arm and flipping her off of you, and I'm slamming her into the ground.
Yeah, her 3 successes don't do anything to your 8 messy crit success. So, here's what happens, Mike. Your messy crit. You see her just absolutely tearing the shit out of Ryder, and he's trying and failing to resist and put up a fight. But you reach up, you run over, you grab, like hook your arms underneath her shoulders, in a full Nelson, you lift her up, and you just straight on, what's that move where you just like fall backwards and drive someone's head in the ground?
Pile driver.
Is that what it is? Like a reverse slam? Like you pick them up and throw them
Oh, like
over?
a suplex, but I have them in a full Nelson?
Oh, super.
Yeah, like a backwards suplex with a full Nelson. So you just like, you pick her up and just like jump backwards and BAM! Slam her in the ground.
And since I messy crit, can I use that to flip myself over so now I'm on top of her in full mount?
You can. That's pretty extra, as she looks to be unconscious on the ground at this point.
Oh, as I was going to throw an elbow, and I'm like, oh, that was it. Oh.
Let's look for survivors.
So,
Good work, Mike. Damn.
the 3 of you who have gone further into the complex, you see about 5 bodies in here, all of which have been, some of which have been gracefully drained. The last couple have been brutally eviscerated.
Jeez.
I turn and begin to grab like the bullet case and try to clean up the mess and make sure that there's no bullet like a gunfire happened. Evidence of it.
Sure, so you're spending like the next 2 minutes just searching everywhere for your bullet case. What are the rest of you doing? So Mike, as you are in that fighting mode, you look down and realize that you overcompensated for this one and hit her really good over the head. She's unconscious. She's not in torpor. You at least assume so, but
I'm gonna...
Is the light on here?
you have Ryder's phone, but that was knocked out and it's now face down on the ground, so you have no light.
I'm like,
Yeah,
Can I
I'm
check
gonna...
for light switch? I'm going to use a cloth to turn it on if I can find one.
Okay. As you're halfway through the room now, there aren't any light switches on this side. Garrett's pretty much the only one who can see, but he's currently occupied, so Mike.
wait, so guys, there was a gunshot. We're in the middle of a town. We need to get out of here.
That's why I'm
Yep.
cleaning it. I'm cleaning this now. Bring her with us.
What? I'm just gonna carry a knocked out woman over my shoulder.
Yes.
Okay.
What
Take a
else
moment.
do we-
Take
what
take a
else
moment and
do we
think.
do?
Let's think on this. If they find that body, and it's that creature, Kindred, problem, Masquerade.
Exactly.
We're gonna get seen walking down the street with an unconscious body. This is gonna end worse. But whatever.
All right. How do we take care of the body then? How do we get rid of the evidence to protect the Masquerade?
Why isn't Charlotte here when we need her?
Yeah.
Mike's like,
it's
I
not
mean, I can
far
try.
away.
I can try and
Mike, you
contact.
call your guy and get him to get a cleaner
I
here.
contact my guy. And I just text
does
him
that
the
mean?
address. What?
You contact your guy?
I contact the sponsor.
Oh, okay. Well,
And I just message. Oh yeah.
I was going to say, there's another option. You do have the ability to make mortals ignore that you're there as long as you don't make a bunch of noise.
But does that go for anybody I'm carrying?
I would say you can hold one person as long as they are pretty much,
Unconscious, which she is.
and they're like on your body. Like they're
And
not
I'm pretty
extruding.
strong, so I could reasonably carry her.
Yeah, it's pretty much you'd have to walk awkwardly to where like her body is like in the same profile as yours.
Uh-huh.
So it'd be kind of like you're squat carrying someone, but I would
Oh,
say
okay. I'll do that then. I didn't know that was like an option that I could do it with that power. Then that's what I'll do. I'm like, okay, I can cover up the two of us. You guys just act natural. And I look at their shoes and I'm like, you have blood on your shoes.
I cleaned the. I grabbed the shells, right? I tried my best to.
Yeah, you only fired once, right?
I go towards where he, was it Garrett that found the victims, or Hermes?
It was all three of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I probably can't see them very well.
So all the victims are dead. Are no pulse?
Are you going to take time to investigate that?
Yeah, I'll check the freshest victim and see if they're alive.
Oh, well, the freshest victim's been utterly eviscerated. There's no way they're alive.
Oh god. What about the intact ones?
They are very pale, cold, and very much dead.
Ah, fuck.
I began heading upstairs, trying to. Because I have.
Do they look like they have claw marks on them?
The few that have been eviscerated, yes.
Wait,
It's
they're
almost-
illustrated
it's
so
like-
on our
well.
poster.
It's like a tale of two feedings. One normal, one just absolutely barbaric.
Oh, I'd ask, like, hey, does any of them look like so-and-so? Because I was given a description of the one girl from the campus. The missing one?
Any
Oh.
of the clothing or hair match here?
None of the victims do, but interestingly enough, when you're not busy bashing her head into the ground, the person you're carrying does. And that's where we're going to end our chapter for the night.
Mike looks over and realizes,
Oh.
You're fucking kidding me?
I knew it!
Mike's like, wait, Charlotte
Oh
wanted to
my
make sure
God.
she's okay. Charlotte's gonna kick my ass.
She's
Mike's
not
like,
the
"Wait,
victim.
she
She's
can't
the
hurt me."
fucking.
Yeah.
She's the fucking vamp that did all this. Oh my god.
Kindred, don't say vamp. That'll get you in trouble.
We'll find out next
This is
time.
out of character.
But yeah, so I'm assuming that you're going to try to get out of here quickly and not leave any trace. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
leaving any
Camarilla.
trace.
And then you're going to call Turbo and get him to escort you out of here.
Yes.
All right.
Man,
And I'm gonna take the body and clean the blood off my shoes because it's basically like no one notices I'm there. I don't leave a trail, so I can get out just fine.
So you're
Yeah.
you're cleaning your shoes with the body?
No.
I'm gonna look for a toilet in the church and just use the running water to clean up.
Yeah. Ooh, James, I just noticed on your last roll, 6